Starship Vigilant, a Star Trek Adventures campaign.
Right, I've got a bit of a disclaimer before we start. I have only ever run one shot before. I usually run a campaign, so my pacing is non-existent. I don't know if we're going to get to the end of the game.
We can always pick it up after Christmas if that's...
Well, the intention is to try and get it done in one session.
Sure,
All I'm saying is some of it might feel a bit... Well, no, I hope it doesn't feel janky at all.
Don't spoil it now. This is what Steve told me. Don't spoil it now. Run the game and then explain afterwards.
And then explain your way out of it at the end. You go,
the core backstory is no Kevin story, right? It's relatively simple, but the game won't be simple. The rules are going to be quite good. Well, there is a preamble because I'm going to be doing rules slightly differently. Okay. The reason being is I want to challenge you guys, but to do that, I need to be sure that the rules that I'm dishing out to you are fair, which means I've got to stay consistent, which means some rule clarification needs to be made just before we start. First of all, momentum. So buying dice, okay, you can buy 3 dice. Okay, the first dice costs you 1 momentum, the second dice will cost you 2 momentum, and the third dice will cost you 3 momentum, which we all know.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're also buying dice with threat, the costs are the same. In that, if you were to buy the first dice with 1 point of threat, and you were to buy the second dice with momentum, it would cost you 2 momentum. Okay. In addition, spoiler, if you were to buy a dice with your determination from your traits,
challenging a value,
that is the first dice it's applied to. So if you were then to buy another dice with momentum, it would cost you 2 momentum. Okay. Now, generating momentum, when you roll your successes, the successes under your focus, every single dice generates you momentum under your focus, not just once. Okay. The thing with the rolling a 1, that's if you don't have any focuses. So if you do have a focus that applies, don't worry about 1s. If you don't have a focus that applies, you're looking for 1s. And if you do have a focus that applies, every dice you roll under your focus is going to generate extra momentum. So on 2 dice, you can generate 4 momentum. Well, 4 successes. Okay. Momentum. The reason this is important is because my game is going to rely a lot on traits. Okay. The difficulty of a task is, as standard, set to 1, and then it is affected by traits, either positively or negatively. So for a task to be more difficult, it's because there are traits affecting it.
Which traits? When you say traits?
I guess it will depend. So traits
do you
are
mean
your
what the focus is?
No.
attributes and values are traits, basically, right?
Oh.
So traits are...
It's not in the back of here.
So, for example, Denobulant, so your race is a trait.
Oh!
So if you are a human, then that is considered a trait, and that gives you certain inherent benefits. So Vulcans, for example, things like a lot of the stuff that Vulcans can do, i.e. being stronger, is encapsulated in the trait. It's not a numerical value, but if you're a Vulcan, it's reasonable for the GM to say you have less trouble opening that door because your trait says you're a Vulcan, therefore you are, by definition, you are stronger.
Exactly. An example, so a trait, you figure out whether or not a trait applies or doesn't apply. Okay. For example, if you had a trait which was you hate Orions. Okay, you hate the Orion Syndicate. Okay. Now, if you were in combat, you could argue that that trait means that you would lower the difficulty because you hate them. But if you were in a negotiation, then it will make it more difficult. Okay.
Yep.
So The reason I tell you this is because you might be wanting to buy traits with momentum. That's one of your momentum spends. Costs 2 momentum to buy a trait.
They call it. I think they call it create advantage.
Create advantage.
So that's creating a trait. Yeah.
So that might be what you're looking.
So that might be worth. Okay, good.
Okay. So now that's out of the way, let's get into the game, shall we? Right.
I've been recording for a couple of minutes. I always like to let it run, so I can edit it. I can edit that out. It's fine.
Okay.
You
So
always say
Don't actually.
I never edit it out.
Don't edit it out because if
That's
it
useful.
works-
I'm gonna listen to that.
If it works,
Yeah, we'll all use
What do you
it.
mean you read the rules?
okay.
home
So
brewing is perfectly acceptable.
our well, it's not homegrown. That's. I don't get me wrong. I love the way you run
No,
games.
don't worry. I'm all in.
Because you run with fluidity and a natural sort of flow to the game,
Bullshit.
whereas I'm needing to do this just so
Absolutely
that.
fine. I'm fully on board.
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
we'll see how it goes.
There we
Right,
go.
I'll be ready.
Do you want us to introduce our characters?
Shit.
Just
Possibly later on.
do you want
I
us to
will
introduce? Our, okay, please go.
Okay, so our episode begins. Okay, the way a lot of Trek episodes begin, with the titular ship flying warp. Okay, just like this. Just like this. So everyone listening, look at the picture on the screen. The Vigilant is flying towards the camera, as you can see from the image.
That's a nice picture.
So you've got obviously the streak of stars.
yeah.
Whizzing
We sit
by.
there flying to the camera and we go to the left. Here it comes again to the
That's
right.
right. That's the right. That's the right. The left.
Intermittently, though, the Vigilant is dropping out of warp. It's moving at impulse. It's making manoeuvres. It's going back into warp, and then again dropping out. Every time it drops to impulse, accompanying the stars, you see these sort of. It's a mix between like a heat haze and a whirlpool. These little discs scattered about.
I'm
Now-
actually navigating, so
Is this something to the observer outside the ship, or is
This is for the
obvious to
viewers.
us?
Yeah, it's for the
Okay.
viewers. Now, over the top of these visuals, we have the voice of Commander Rannoch, and he says the following: Commander Rannoch's personal log, Stardate 49145.7. I'm currently en route to Starbase 34 to attend a council in regards to the collapse of the Khitomer Accords. It would appear that the looming instability of the region has Starfleet command on edge. As such, I have been asked to appear as special advisor on the Defiant class ship. During my absence, I have left Lieutenant Commander Naismith in command of the Vigilant. The ship and its crew are currently on course to investigate the disappearance of a number of scouting probes in the yet unmapped region of the Shackleton Expanse beyond the Lighthouse Science Station. The last update I received on the Vigilant's progress reported that they had already recovered 2 of the probes, which had been caught in gravimetric eddies. Once, other than the gravitational displacement affecting the probes, signalling conduits, the report stated that the probes look to be in full working order. I imagine the crew will be done and on their way back to Narendra Station before I have even arrived at Starbase 34. This should prove to be a straightforward mission for Miles's first command. So the ship.
Famous last
all good then.
words.
End game. You see, I was wrong about
Lovely. That was awesome.
So
Well done.
we see the ship. It sort of moves past the camera. The camera follows it, and it speeds off, sort of into warp. And then our title sequence begins to roll. Let me get rid of.
He's done a title sequence.
I haven't. No, I looked to do a title sequence, and it was way too much effort. But you'd see the title sequence you expect with the Vigilant sort of moving through the stars and what have you.
We totally have our own theme tune.
Words on screen: Star Trek Vigilant, based on Star Trek, created by Gene Roddenberry, starring Sean Kennedy as Lieutenant Commander Miles Naismith, also starring Mike Clark as Lieutenant Kaz, and Kevin Roth as Lieutenant David Osterhoff. Guest starring Steve Yates as Lieutenant Karen Lira. Okay, right, so a couple of things.
I'm filling up a bit.
You need to pick a first officer. Now, now that you're in command, you're going to have someone as a first officer. So we need to get that admin sorted out.
My fallback would be Kolesh, but that might be seen as favoritism.
Nobody likes me.
You are not going to be first officer. Wait, who has seniority?
I'm
Kaz, because
Well-
I'm a lieutenant junior grade, because I'm
Technically the doctor, but he's a doctor. He's got other responsibilities.
Yeah. No, in terms
then
of the
other,
commander.
yeah. So Lieutenant Kaz is probably
Yeah, then you would be first officer.
Okay.
okay. I
I mean,
also
someone else is flying.
I also need you to fill the bridge for me. So can we grab the bridge? Obviously, I assume Naismith is going to be in his chair. And
Sit him playing Gallagher.
okay, so I need someone in. What have we got? We've got tactical 1.
Which is where?
It's at the front on the far side. Number 8.
yeah.
Number 8. Yeah, that's it. I've got tactical 2, or it's also known as security station. That's on number 7.
Why don't you just put a yellow shirt there?
Yeah.
Put this lady here. She's just a security crewman.
And which one's that?
Number 7. Then we have also got operations/communications, which is at number 10. And then at the back,
Gold.
at the back we've got a science station and an engineering station.
I'll take the engineering. So this is my character here.
Engineering's number 2.
Number 2.
Why does an engineer need a phaser?
It's not a phaser.
It's the only denobulin I had. I could get hold of.
It's a DNA
joking.
collector.
Who do you want to put at the other station, Mike? Did you say?
That's not a thing.
It's science, so you could have Osterhard in there, unless
okay.
Osterhard
Is that
is
the
really
one?
close.
Yeah.
Who's at 8?
So 8 is actually the first officer station, but as you're at the helm, that could stay vacant, or you could put someone else there. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'd rather run it from the.
Well, the other option is you move to the first officer's thing and have someone else flying.
No, you're probably better off flying, aren't you? That's your thing.
Yeah, well, it's up to you. I did
Where's the
give you
music
the-
from? Is it Galaxy Quest?
So it is from.
It's something I wrote for the session.
It's a Disney one. It's Disney, isn't it?
It's called Soaring.
Soaring, of course it
Soaring
is.
over.
Yes.
I knew I bloody knew it.
Yes.
Okay, that's totally our new theme tune.
That's
then.
really sad, isn't it? We know that.
No, I love Soaring so much. And
Speaking of Galaxy Quiz, you know that the documentary's coming out next month.
yeah. Can't wait. That's right, Soaring. Excellent. Well done. I need to make a note of that.
Okay, going back to traits. Naismith, because you're in command, here are 2 example traits that you can use. Okay. First is yellow alert. Okay, if you were to put the ship on yellow alert, a few things happen. First of all, the shields get powered. Okay, so when the ship's on yellow alert, the computer will automatically power up the shields.
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of traits, your crew will be on alert because they're on yellow alert. So whenever a crew member is at their station performing a task that would be done at their station,
Yeah.
they'll get an additional point. So it's essentially a success already.
So that means you're already prepared.
Yes. You can imagine the second one of these is red alert. Now red alert, it's doesn't just power the shields,
Yeah.
it also powers the phasers. So if you're on red alert and you come into a combat situation, you can already assume that your shields and phasers are readied. So they won't take you time to do that.
Yeah.
Your crew, they are highly alert, so it's a +2 to any roll that is relevant to them. But the thing is, if you put the ship on red alert, I'm going to start a clock. The crew can only be on alert for so long before it starts to affect them.
No, I get that.
And then it's going to take negativities, okay, because the crew are a little bit too highly strung, okay? Kaz, you've got 3 manoeuvres that you can move if you choose to move them. If you choose to use them. So I imagine it'll be something like Kaz Omega, Kaz Alpha, and Kaz Delta, something like that.
Yeah.
You can either use them as attack patterns, or you can
So
use them...
do I have to
Define them.
now.
No. They're essentially, you can say, I'm going to use one of my manoeuvres, either an attack pattern or a evasive manoeuvre.
Yeah.
Okay. So on your turn, if you're in combat, for example, and you're steering the ship, you can say, I'm going to use one of my manoeuvres. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get 3 to use. Once they're used, they're used.
That's
okay.
it. Okay.
But they're a +2. So essentially, you're doing something fancy. Okay. So that's going to lower the difficulty of 2 for something you need to do.
Right.
Or raise the difficulty if it's a defensive manoeuvre against the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Osterhagen,
Yep.
you have got...
You are confined to quarters.
You still haven't given that phaser back.
You've got...
Oh no, the phaser was...
This trait,
No.
this trait is almost a bit of an ability,
Compensated.
okay? It can be used once in the game, if you choose to use it. It is called... This is so crazy, it might just work. Okay?
Am I right?
It wouldn't surprise me if you do have
That's the
something
first one.
similar.
I've got similar. Yeah.
Okay, when you come up with a bizarre way of doing something, which you inevitably will, okay, any roll that is relevant to that is going to get an automatic success, a 1 success, or essentially lower the difficulty by 1. Okay, so any roll that's relevant to that plan, if that plan is in effect. Okay, but that can be used once in game, and you've got to sort of state what the plan is.
Nice.
Okay. Steve.
Yep.
I haven't necessarily got trait stuff for you, but I do need you to run the ship's power system.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Kevin, there's great. Yeah.
Modify something in relation to...
I'm loving this.
okay, can you put a pip on all the primary system, 1 pip on each primary system? Can you put fill the impulse engines up, so 2 pips there, and then fill up your warp core?
I very much like faster now, I do.
Yeah, I've got to get me one of these.
Okay, now bear in mind, if the ship does go on to yellow or red alert, you're going to have to move that power yourself.
I mean, you say if. I'm sure that's probably not likely to happen.
You do realise this is... Have you played Pandemic?
No, not.
The board game.
Oh,
It's a board
okay.
game.
Right, so those are all filled. Impulse is filled.
Would be
And
able
fill
to
up your
level that.
warp
So just 1 in each sector.
yeah, and there's 2 columns, so...
If you haven't got enough gems, you haven't got enough power.
Yeah, you've got 20 gems there.
No, it's not gems. It's Dollar from Christmas.
Okay, now, so shields on the Vigilant are... We've got a shield rating of 13, which we all know already, right? So there are 13 boxes here. So when shields are powered, you would take them from the warp drive and you would add them here. Okay.
Okay, yep.
If you're using transporters and you divert power to the transporters, you fill it up to the full level. Okay. If when you try to do a transportation and it fails, you have the ability to divert power from somewhere else, but it would lower the difficulty. Okay, because you're adding more
Only
power to
have
it.
like a limited number of modifiers, like his trait would be something like somehow being able to modify that. You said you hadn't thought about...
I mean, you guys are welcome to come up with traits. That's the whole point of the game, is coming up with ways, advantages to So, yeah, if you come up with your own traits, then
No, I'm just thinking
Buy
about
them.
for him, for being able to play around with that.
I'm not moving any of these gems. They all look too nice where they are. So you got stuff.
okay, perfect.
Okay, good.
Same with the tractor beam. So if you
use tractor beam, you would take 2.
you would do
and
that.
That's emergency power, presumably.
if you fail on your tractor beam roll, you have the option then to divert
Extra
power from
power.
somewhere
Yeah.
else, put it there, and you get to roll again on your next turn. But this time it would lower the difficulty by 1. Okay.
Does the warp core generate... Does the warp drive generate power though?
So no, you actually have a matter-antimatter reaction.
No, sorry, but I mean...
But for simplicity, this is only a piece of paper. It won't actually power a spaceship. I know.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more like, you know, as time goes by, while we're using the map, we're able to replenish it. That's what I was just thinking. It's a warp
Well,
drive.
okay, so
The idea being, I think, if I may, this is simply
I know, it's a representation.
saying that you can't do everything at once, right?
Yes,
so the idea
exactly.
is this is your pool,
you've got to manage
and you
power.
go, I can put these in. If I run out of here, then I can't be going forward. I can't
You'll
be-
notice numbers, they're underneath
Yeah.
the warp drive, but you'll notice numbers. That's the speed you can go at, okay? So with your shields raised and your phasers armed, you can't go any faster than warp 2.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Is this just you giving Steve shiny stuff to keep him occupied?
He's giving me shiny stuff to keep me quiet, basically.
So I can GM without his interference.
Without me.
That's what this is.
I'm totally fine with that.
Let me make a note of that.
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Right,
Cool.
after the credits finish, the game begins. We open on the bridge of the Vigilant with the people in the positions that you see there. Now you've recovered 2 of the 3 probes, and you're on course to the last known location of the probe, the final probe. Okay. Now the area is littered with gravimetric eddies. That's what we saw those whirlpools. Okay. Now it's a bit like a minefield. This area with these whirlpools.
Could I try and map them?
As you fly, or map ahead of time?
A map ahead, a way of detecting them so I can avoid them.
Yeah, let's go for that. Okay. So if you could make.
I've got a job for him though. To have a look at the thingies to see how the eddies affected them.
Yes, is that possible to determine the how the eddies are affected, how the eddies affect the probes and our flying?
Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all tell you the difficulty of a task. Then I'm going to tell you the appropriate dice to roll. Then I'm going to tell you any traits that apply to it, and then I'm going to tell you the new difficulty of the task. Okay, just so we're on the same page. Then we're going to roll.
We're going to be moving things around.
I was going to sit there quietly going, what phases?
So let's.
Ready?
Steve, have you got the ship
Yeah.
sheet just so that I can?
Oh, the ship sheet.
Give me a sec. You mean with the actual stats of the ship?
Stats of the ship,
Yeah.
because we're using ship sensors and stuff,
I've
right?
got a handy little card here, actually. Watching the warp drive's leaking. But hold on.
Yeah, sorry, that might
No,
be
no,
a
no,
bit
no,
delayed.
no, it's all good.
Oh, that is really cool though.
If we do, we'll just trash it. And
I'm just going to use that from now on. So that has the stats on the back.
goody. Okay.
I'm going to make a better version without the handwritten bit, but that's from last session, so that'll do for now.
Okay, so I believe you're both going to be using the ship sensors, right?
I guess, yeah.
And they both seem like science rolls. Or if anyone disagrees with that, then let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Reason science or insight science?
It's going to be sensors and science because we're using the ship.
Okay.
Because it's a ship sensors, right?
So the ship's attributes and my discipline.
So you would...
Yeah, let's do that actually. So let's use the ship sensors, and then you can use your own. Because I've got the department of the ship, but because you're doing it yourself, so
Yeah.
you can use your own science rather than the ship science.
What's the ship size?
1.
Okay. My
Yeah.
so I get 1 or 2 dice.
So because you're making separate rolls because you're looking for different stuff, you both get to roll your 2 dice. Steve, can you deal out the determination to people? It's
yeah,
1
fine.
each, right?
Yeah.
But I need to. It's my attribute. In lieu of no attribute, we're going to use
We are going to use sensors, which is 9.
9.
What I'll do is I'll give you a threat token each.
Okay, and now the numbers that you need, the
Use that for
number of
determination,
successes
right?
you need, you are both going to need 2 successes.
9.
Do you have any?
100.
Do you have any focuses that apply?
No.
You've got any sensors or... What's your focus is?
Xenobiography. Xenobiology, genetics, infectious diseases, virology,
Fair enough. Okay, you were right.
philosophy.
No.
I think therefore I am looking at the same thing. Okay.
So, Kevin, what exactly was it that you were
I'm determining to see, well,
the effect that they would have on the probes? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, just looking at. I suppose just looking at the data from the probe.
So you know that let's have a look. I said gravimetric, didn't I? Gravimetric eddy. Okay, gravimetric eddy was a pocket of intense gravimetric energy similar to a whirlpool in water that circulate current, often inhibiting the passage of ships within its boundaries, attempting to pull them into the centre. So that's just the information you would know. You've not gained anything else, okay? But you know that it's like a whirlpool of gravity sort of pulling stuff in.
So it's
We've
like
obviously seen a lot of these sort of gravimetric disturbances before.
so it's an effect similar to a black hole, but without the black hole in the centre.
In essence, yeah. And they've got varying sizes. So some are smaller and they have less of a pull. Some are larger and they've got more of a pull.
Okay.
Right, way back in the day when we did the convoy scenario,
Yeah.
we did. I worked up a program to be able to track.
Well, that could be what Kevin's talking about in a trait.
Yeah.
So you could buy a trait or define a trait to say predictive navigation or something
Yeah,
like that, which means that you've worked out a on-the-fly sort of computer program to try and plot them.
So I like that.
So
So
that
I'm
would be a
going to put that into, because it's from a previous game, right?
Yeah.
So let's bring that forward. So having that as a trait, that's going to lower the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
So you need 1 success.
Mark, going to make a note of that trait just as I don't know
we'll
what
do
to
a
call it.
second.
Should we make a note of the trait? Let's get rid of that.
But you ever got the feeling when somebody's running a game, they're actually doing a better job than you do? It's like,
I'm not.
Any idea what it was called, Mike?
What the program? What I want to call it?
I think it.
Navigation or something?
Hang on a minute. I might
Hazard avoidance.
hang on, I might remember it down. That was the convoy scenario.
Yes.
And in the scenario in which we were caught between two gravitational pulls, we had previously written the program to search
I need one of them.
probes.
I need one of everything.
I apologise for my atrocious spelling.
Version,
On the excellent,
version
like-
2,
L-cars thing.
because if we combine it with the probe program that we wrote to look for the probes when we were stuck between those two gravitational pulls eventually, we were looking for probes.
Yeah.
Combined both probes.
It's basically a
Version 2. Okay, so
Oh, wow.
therefore, it's going to lower it by 2. So it's a 0 success
yeah.
that you need. So you can roll it to generate momentum.
So
Or do you need the password for the program?
that's so it's going to be 12 or less. Let's see what we get. I got 18 and a 1, so that's 1 success.
So it's two. You roll a 1.
If you roll a 1,
So
then
that's
it's
two
two
successes.
successes.
So I meant it's 1 dice success.
But that's because you're using my program.
You and me both.
Instagram in the whole night.
So yeah, whenever you want to see the traits, I'll pop that back up. But I'll let you.
It's like being on holiday. This is great.
Are you allowed to game with all this?
Steve.
So-
Steve.
Sucks being me.
Okay, right. So
You need to up your game.
I know.
My Steve.
yeah.
My
What's this cardboard shit?
Cardboard shit. I mean, dude, seriously. It's just-
Wait a minute. I've got beans.
that's just
Wait,
to stop looking
oh,
at me.
is this where we find out we were supposed to be playing that, what's it, Starfleet, what you call it, VR thing?
Bridge Command.
Bridge
That looks
Command,
good.
yeah.
I'll play that.
Me too.
Okay, Mike. Sorry, Kaz. Using this sensor,
Yeah.
you are literally able to fly at warp, almost as close as you can get to the next one. Drop out of warp to impulse, navigate quickly, and then back into. So you're literally just shuttle running, and it's like warp, warp, warp.
So I believe we call that showing off. Is that?
Indeed.
Showboating. There you go.
I'll do it with one hand held.
That's good though. Because, no, that's good though because that does build on what you did before. That does. You've got to speak.
But there are crew members downstairs going.
Oh yeah, because I forgot to put a bead in the inertial dampeners. Knuckle. Oh, what a knucklehead.
No, that's the red. I wonder why there was red smears all over the wall.
That's my engineering crew.
The remains of your engineering crew.
Well, that's spelt it then.
No, it's not cheap. Set dressing.
Right.
Okay, so you're moving close to where this probe went missing. Okay, so you're not far away.
Okay, as we get closer, I'm slowing the ship so as we zero in on the location.
Fantastic.
I'm reducing speed, so I'm not going drop
Yep.
out.
Okay,
I'm
brilliant.
just sort of like slowing and scanning and zoning.
You are. Full speed it! No, I'm joking, it's fine.
Okay. So as you pull back a bit on the thrust, so we're maybe travelling the warp 2 or something now.
Top.
Cat's doing donuts.
There is who is on the comms? Someone on comms.
Operations. We said it was the geezer over on the. Is it the Tellarite?
10.
Okay, so he looks up and he says, Lieutenant Commander Naismith, I'm getting some sort of signal, some sort of subspace signal. I can't quite make it out.
Where's it coming from?
Oh, it's coming from directly ahead, near the probe, but it doesn't seem to be the probe.
I take it we can't see anything on the screen.
Nope. Nothing on screen. You're not in visual range yet because you've. I mean, you could wait until you get closer if you wanted. Someone could.
See if someone can clear up the signal.
Yeah. So that would be a science and comm roll. So.
That. Well, I don't know who's.
So ship's comms is a 9, and then whoever's doing it, you'd use your own science.
4. So that's 13.
Okay.
We have a random comm pleb.
So the difficulty is 1 for this.
1.
One success.
1 success.
1 success. Okay. It appears to be a distress call, but it's hard to make out because it doesn't seem to be in a language that is currently known. So the universal translator is sort of pulling it apart, and it's coming through as a distress signal of sorts.
Acting captain.
Oh, rub it in, why don't you?
There appears to be a. It's a distress call. Can't pick up the language. Universal translator's not working correctly.
Okay, well, send a reply saying that we're en route, and then when we get in range, visual range, we can see what's going on.
So I'm going to send
an impossible scan ahead.
en route in all known languages.
Okay. And so you're sending the comm forward.
Yeah.
And did you say
very concise? We're coming in.
Just the usual thing of like, this is the USS Vigilant, and like we're responding to your hail, we're on the way. It's that sort of thing, yeah.
did you say make a you scan ahead? Did you say? Okay, make us long-range scanners and long-range sensors. Whoever wants to do that, possibly someone at the science station or maybe technical. Okay, now this roll, it has a staggering difficulty. Staggering in that there are stages to it. So, depending on how much information you want to gain from the sensors, would depend on how much dice you want to put into it. Remember, you can buy dice with threat.
I'll just try 2 dice.
You've got what? 2 momentum you generated already?
Oh, that's determination.
That's I'll give those out of determination. You should have 8 points of threat, by the way, because you get 2 for each player, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Have we generated any momentum yet?
True.
Okay, fine. So there's 2 points of momentum go into the pool then. We'll stick them on the plate. So there's your threat. 2.
So I'll buy one dice.
Marvellous.
I'll buy 1 dice.
Okay, so I'll put that back onto the shower.
And someone could assist if you wanted to.
What are you trying to do?
Long-range scan. Can you get the computer to assist? The ship to assist?
Ship. What's the ship's? Is it what you
ships.
doing? Reason and.
We're going to want.
No, we're going to use the ships.
What's the rule book?
Yeah. So what's your what attribute and discipline are you using for your? So you're presumably using insight and science,
No.
right?
Using the ships
Ship sensors.
and my science.
Okay.
It's 30.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you're using the ship to assist as well, that'll be sensors and con.
And what's that total? Because I'll roll for that. if you like.
12.
12.
So 13 and 12.
So if you get a success and I get a success, I've got a 10, so I've got one success. So
I
if
have
you
2 successes.
right, so that means you get 3 successes.
Okay, total of 3 successes.
Yeah.
Now, it's up to you how much of that you use on momentum and how much of that you use on
So
information.
what was the difficulty 1?
I've got a difficulty 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So depending, you could buy that as finding out information from a difficulty.
So we've got 3 successes. So I would say, if you want to, maybe we could use 2 of those to obtain information, so we could get more. How do you want to do it?
So we actually need 1 more success. So what we could do
To get all of
To
the
get
information.
full information.
So how about we have we spend a momentum to roll 1 more dice to see if we can get a success and roll 4.
Or can we just spend that momentum just to be given the extra success, to buy the extra
Oh, yeah.
success? Do you want to do it that way, or do you want to just get us to re-roll the dice? We'll just spend that point and re-roll the dice. Is that right?
You can spend it for an extra success. I'll allow it.
So that'll give us 4
Four,
successes.
yeah.
So we'll
4
spend that.
successes.
So that gives us 4 successes and with no momentum.
Okay. So
Best to know what we're going into.
so difficulty 0. Location distress call is very close to a class 1 gravimetric eddy, which was sort of you knew that was going to be anyway.
Is class 1 the bestest or the worstest?
So class 1 is essentially it would have an effect of 1 on.
Right, got it.
So if it was a class
Oh, okay.
3,
Yeah,
then
it
it's
would
going to be
have
heavy.
effects.
Scale goes up, not down.
So okay, so
Yes.
1. Okay, fine.
Difficulty 1 was ship of unknown design, which sort of from the distress call not
Makes
being
sense,
a language you knew. Difficulty of 2, the ship is partly organic. You are getting from the sensors.
Interesting.
Difficulty 3, the ship is entangled with another organic life form. And then difficulty 4, there is a presence of a class 1 gravitational eddy. Okay.
So there's 2 gravitational.
There's a gravimetric eddy and there's also a
Gravitation.
gravitational eddy. Okay. So a gravitational eddy, from your Starfleet knowledge, this is knowledge that you would already have, a gravitational eddy is a force closely associated with the interior structure of wormholes. Surrounding the interior wormhole conduit, the eddies had a gravitational attraction that could pull objects into the aperture.
Right.
Or even crush objects that were caught within them. So they gravitational eddies
So these are actually
closely
not-
related to wormholes, the internal structure of a wormhole.
Is this big enough to take our ship in?
From long range scan, you cannot tell. You're just picking up. Hold on a sec. No. I'm getting a bleep of.
So we have an unknown ship
Mhm.
with an organic component. We think
Yep.
seems to be entangled with another organic something.
Mhm.
Could be a life form. Could be another ship of a similar.
Yep.
And they seem to be trapped between these 2 opposing forces. Is that right? So you have a
So you know that
Gravitational
you know
eddy
that the
is
ship is
pulling.
definitely close to a gravimetric eddy, but you're also picking up somewhere in the vicinity a gravitational eddy.
But whatever. So, recommend, Commander, that we proceed with caution. We don't know what kind of effect these opposing forces will have on the local space-time, so we might want to be very, very cautious.
Yep. No, I agree.
With your permission, I'm going to. Get all of my team into engineering, just in case we need to keep a close eye on the warp core. Because if you're messing with weird spatial
That's fine.
forces, so although we're not technically at alert, I'm just going to basically rouse the other shift out of their bunks, essentially, and on my sort of discrete engineering comm circuit, I'll just get my engineering team to engineer, because I'm on the bridge, but I'll say all engineers to the engineering section.
Engineering WhatsApp group.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, 1 second. Bear with.
Well, at the moment, it's
So I just want to make sure everyone's up and awake and ready to get on it if need be. So,
Lovely.
One
So
of-
you're actually leaving the bridge, yeah?
no, I'm just doing that. I'm saying.
Oh, you're just telling
I'm
them
just,
to
I'm just
rouse.
because
that's
obviously
cool.
on a ship because I mean on a ship this small, I think we did work it out that you've got 3 shifts.
Mhm.
Even though each shift, like engineering, is about 3 or 4 blokes because there's only like 12 of them or something. But I'm just making sure that everybody is basically up and ready in case we need to get on it, because if we're going to be going
quite
into,
red alert.
And this is why
yeah,
he's
it's not, we're not on
this is
alert.
why he's not a
This is my
popular
own
ship
discreet. Get everybody up, get a cup of coffee, get down to engineering in case we need you.
Yeah, boots on.
leader. And this is why you're not
Obviously,
a
with the
popular.
commanders, yeah. Well, I'm young, and one of my values is the best way to impress is to excel. So don't forget, I'm filling in for a much more experienced engineer. So I'm always from.
Tompkinson.
What's that?
Tompkinson.
Yeah, Tompkinson. Now Tompkinson's, because Tompkinson will be the one who doesn't get the comm signal when he's still in his bunk. So everybody else is going, "Where's Tompkinson?" I know he's still in his bunk. So yeah, but I'm always, yeah. She's probably a little bit over keen. So yeah, you're right. She might rub people up the wrong way, but anyway, I've got everybody awake and ready. So.
Okay, then I guess you would move into probably visual range now.
Yeah, visual range.
Making a slow, cautious approach.
Yeah, perfect.
Reduce the ship to. I'll go to impulse.
Yep.
With permission, of course.
Are we in visual range before hailing range?
Visual, both. Yeah.
I mean, hailing range would be
Let me
probably a
throw
lot longer, but.
Captain suggests we reduce speed to impulse speed.
Fine, just do it.
Any response from the...
And then
I've got a nice little throttle.
view screen maximum. What's it? View screen maximum magnification.
Okay.
Do we get any response back from the we are coming?
So what you do notice, looking for the response, is the message you were getting was on a loop, so it seemed to be recorded. Right. Okay.
The 12 seconds.
There's no response to hails. Okay. When the view screen sort of lights up, you do now. That octopus had nothing to do with this. but
I bloody knew it.
Filling the view screen can best be described as a giant space octopus. Okay.
Okay. If this looks anything like Cthulhu, I'm abandoning ship.
You'd be insane by that point.
Who was in the escape pod?
Yes, roll inside it.
Not again.
Okay, it appears to have hold of a small craft. Okay, which was the source of the distress call. The sleek design of the ship does not register as a known vessel in Starfleet's database.
Lyra lets her professionalism slip a little bit, and it's replaced by her exuberance. She says, "What the hell is that?" Just from the back of the bridge.
Is this octopus?
I believe Vern may have referred to it as the Kraken.
The Kraken, yeah. Is this Kraken? Is it coming out of the gravitational eddy, sort of like the wormhole? Does it appear to be phasing in? Or is it fully in within our space? Is it solid? Does it appear to be sort of like there's a whirlpool open and the tentacles are coming out of the whirlpool? Sort of.
Okay, let's make a close range scan then.
I thought we actually waiting for the image of this.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Like,
You've set a bar now.
yeah.
It was a CGI image. You better be moving, otherwise I'm...
I mean, I can show you the image I had, but I honestly ran out. It's not on there. It's on my phone. I ran out of time, so it's not to the standard I wanted. So.
I'm just hearing exclusive.
Yeah.
I'm using theatre of the mind and I'm sticking to it. It's my excuse.
My resignation will be on your desk tomorrow morning, Steve.
Oh, awesome. Check it out. That'll do.
Cool.
That's nice.
And he's big.
Well, that's cool.
Loving that.
So it's huge.
Yes, it is pretty big.
Hell Hydra, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Good point.
Yeah. So, does someone want to make a close range scan for me, please?
One success.
One success.
Using the same method as before.
Yeah. So the gravitational eddy appears to be coming from the life form. Okay. Your scan is also picking up.
So could it be multi-phasing?
Could it be from another dimension?
Very Starfleetian analysis. Could well be. Yep.
Oh, we know it's alive though.
From its movement, it appears
It's
to be.
moving.
Does the ship have any?
Its life's lost to Harkin, but not as we know it.
The other thing is whether or not the ship,
He reaches for his sampling kit.
where it just says this
And heads for
having
the
some
airlock.
kind of gravimetric. I suppose, is there any way of being able to scan that?
So
I
what's
suppose
attracted the creature to the ship?
No, I'm going to find out if the ship's from here or from wherever the thing is
I see what you're
from.
saying, yeah.
It's a long tube-like thing.
And then hail the ship again.
Okay. So a scan of the ship would do then. I know we're making a lot of sensor rolls, but let's make another sensor roll.
Two successes.
Gaining information.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to go shout if anyone's bursting for the loo.
Tough.
I'll only be like 15.
We've only got one
Yeah.
toilet. So.
Yeah.
No,
So
all
I just
good.
wanted to let you know.
Thank you very much.
2 successes. Okay. From the ship, you are not getting any gravimetric eddy readings. You are picking up 6 life forms aboard, and those life forms appear to be unconscious.
Sounds to me like it's time to start moving some beads and pumping up that transporter. Maybe
we
it's worth
transport
trying to
that
beam them
one?
aboard.
Yeah.
Is the is the hull showing any signs of buckling or anything like that is going to give?
It doesn't have instruction.
If that roll was higher, I could
Okay.
give you more
Okay,
information.
cool.
Commander, I recommend permission to try and beam the crew aboard.
You're really enthusiastic. You might want to rein it in a little bit.
So I'd like to override that and suggest a medical team be transported over in case there's any strange diseases that we don't want to get on the ship.
Transparent motivation there. Or
I
something.
nominate myself for participating in
where's my
the
song?
transport.
Okay, as viewers, we hear a female voice that speaks with authority. Okay. Lieutenant Commander, your report described the life form as resembling that of a giant octopus. So the scene now jumps to a familiar-looking briefing room,
Oh my god.
which regular watchers of the show will recognise as a room on the Narendra station. Naismith is sitting facing the audience, as well as his inquisitors, who are out of shot. The female voice continues. Could you clarify for us the sequence of events that followed? As the order in which things took place are varied from the reports of different members of your crew.
Oh.
Okay, so we now cut back to the Bridge of the Vigilant, with the voice of Naismith narrating what we're seeing, so what's going on. So what happens next? What do we do?
Is the ship still powered?
Their ship. Does it still have power? It does still have power.
Okay. Does the
I'll tell you what, you probably, from that scan, there's some basic information you probably would have got. That their shields are up, but they do appear to be failing.
Okay.
And so does its life support.
Okay. And does it look like, I mean, the other thing is, the creature, does it look like it's a fully formed thing, or like you were saying about, does it look like it's protruding out of something? Like we can kind of go, it's coming out of there, whatever that is, or like there's some kind of event horizon or something.
So
like that.
no, it doesn't. It definitely appears to be in this plane of existence, and it doesn't seem to be sort of.
I don't expect it to be phasing in and out or something like that, but it's just like, is there a point where, you know, when you see, it's like the equivalent of when you see, like, you know, you see like the hand sticking out where you can kind of go, it's coming out, it's appearing from that point over there, as opposed to it's fully formed as opposed to it appears to be fully formed in our plane of existence.
Okay, so let's see if we can make a roll. Let's go for insight and science forming.
Okay.
Science officer, roll.
So I've got 13, but you've got 2 mil as well.
One success.
Okay, one success.
That cat's got hairs all over my system.
I think ideally what I'm trying to do, all I'm really wanting to do is see if this is trying to pull it in somewhere.
Okay.
Because it would be that whole thing of like, do I try go in and get the ship away from the creature, or do I wait until the shields have collapsed long enough to be able to transport? Because we can't transport in.
With the shields are up, yeah.
Well, the shields are up, and either we have to do something to get her free of the creature, or we have to wait until the.
Just a thought, could we hit the shields hard hit the shields with a weapon phaser fire.
That's not a good thing.
No, but I'm saying
Enough to take the shield.
just enough to knock the shields down.
But
And
then
also, that might be perceived. With all due respect, sir, that might be perceived as a threatening action. We don't know what
Yeah,
abilities this
threatening
creature
action,
possesses.
the
If you start shooting at it,
the threatening-
even if you're shooting at something it's holding on to, it
The
might see
threatening
it as a
action
threat.
is leaving those people on board unconscious.
but we're not trying to leave them. We're trying to
That
do,
should be our first priority.
which is
But
why we
shooting at an unknown life form, with all due respect, sir, is probably not the way to go.
correct. Let's scan. Will we be able to pick up anything in relation to that?
Being the science officer, you believe that this might the gravitational eddy that sort of surrounds it is either like a residue from it having travelled through a wormhole, but it doesn't appear to be moving into one or generating one or anything.
That could
So
be.
is it actually generating the field around it?
It's more of a residual.
So it could be that's how warp travel works.
Move closer.
I'd like to test a theory. If we assume that this creature has grabbed the ship because the ship was giving off
Move closer.
some kind of energy,
Residue that reminds you of its home.
Yeah. I'd like to replicate.
But just to clarify, there is no presence of that on the ship. It's,
No.
Where is
it seems to
Where
be-
is the satellite?
Now concerned about the probe.
Yeah, the probe. Where is it?
On the probe? It's maybe a few light miles away, so it's not a long way. It's relatively close, but it's not.
No, that's fine.
in
No,
the
I
way-
thought it was.
They're not fighting.
No. What I meant was, because you said that they were close here, I thought it was like this thing's over here, but it's like just on the other side over there. There it is, sort of thing, as opposed to.
So I said there was a close by gravimetric eddy.
Yeah.
That seems to have gotten this probe.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
And these just happen to be
Okay.
relatively
So
close
what
by.
I think we
I
should
have
do,
an idea.
Captain, is send out repurpose one of our existing probes to phase in different energy sources. Send that close to the creature to see which energy sources entice it to grab the probe, and therefore we may be able to utilize that to get the existing ship out from under its grip. If we know
If we could get it to let
if
it
we
go.
know that it likes cheese as opposed to
You're
biscuits.
assuming you're operating the assumption it's drawn to the energy.
Well, it's grabbed a ship. The biggest thing with the ship would be the energy.
Could I attempt to remodulate the shield frequency on the other ship?
But
So
we don't know how to tap into
we
it.
could use the deflector. So I could repurpose the deflector to basically hit the other ship's deflector shields with different frequencies, which would basically energise the shields. So we could give the creature a jolt, which would be enough to get it to release the ship long enough for us to maybe tractor it out. So we're not actually shooting at it, but what we're doing is we're maybe making the ship less palatable to the
Quick
creature.
question, out of character question. Can you track the shields?
I don't think you
Sure.
can. Well, I think
Can't,
you can't.
no, you
really.
have to get them tracked down to get on that transport, isn't it?
Transporters have been down to the thing, but can you track to a ship with a shield?
I believe you can.
I think
Okay,
you
that's
probably
fine.
could.
Right, we can do that. You can work on the.
If we
You get a start on that.
Well, I think essentially create efficient.
Yeah, no, I get what you're doing.
Yeah,
Do
sure.
that.
So, do you want to make a scan roll for me?
You do the thing.
So we use the ship
have to get
sensors
it
again, which
closer.
is 9, and you can use your own. Let's have a look. See,
Should we send the
I
runabout
want to see
in?
what the yeah, probably
That's
Sacrifice another runabout. Good news is there's a little bead on the sensors box, so we're all good, all right? For now.
As soon as he diverts power from there, it's like, oh, sensors.
So what's it, 9? So that's going to be 14.
I should put a bit of tape
12.
over inertial dampeners and life support, shouldn't I? Just to make sure I don't move those.
What is the optimal range you'll need to be for the deflector? Do you think for the deflector idea to work?
7, which is just one success.
One
I guess
success.
probably as close as we can get.
So there appears to be, even though the shields are up,
Yeah.
there appears to be a hull breach, and life support is failing.
Can we tell what type of atmosphere it is?
Type of atmosphere
It's
is.
what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, sure. It's I guess a similar atmosphere to what?
Oxygen, nitrogen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to repurpose the probe to phase through energy.
Well, if you do that
sources.
first, and then what I'll do is, if the thing responds, then I'll see if I can hit the. While he's doing that, I'm going to I'd like to create a trait of something like,
a particular energy source.
let's think,
attempt to
remodulate deflector, remodulate main deflector.
Okay.
So how do I go back to finding that? Or do you want me to? What does it cost me? Do I have to spend threat to get that?
So usually you spend momentum to generate something, but if you don't have the momentum, then yeah, you can give me threat.
So how many points of threat?
2 points of threat.
So I give you 2 threat,
Yeah.
and I'm going to call that.
Guest
So
star's
does
going
that
to get us
sound
killed.
remodulate
I'll put
deflector?
that on screen.
This is where he's a guest star. He's going to get us killed.
So remodulate deflector.
That's good.
Remodulate main deflector. So basically, what I want to do is I want to, because as we know the main deflector is a Swiss Army knife type of tool. So what I want to do is, if I use the main deflector to essentially send a beam at their shields, the reaction between their shields and our deflector, I can by varying or remodulating our deflector dish, I can essentially change the frequency of their shields, because their shields have to adjust to match, because obviously the shields are there to protect the ship from energy attacks. Hitting it with a deflector means that their shields will essentially react to our deflector, and what I'm trying to do is essentially give the thing a bit of a shock so it will release the ship, because obviously it's holding on to the ship.
Yep.
Even though the ship has got its deflectors up. So if we can essentially agitate their shields...
So you're looking to force a change in polarity
so
of their shields?
we're not shooting at it,
Yeah.
but what we're doing is hopefully their shields will change and it will go, oh, it doesn't like that particular frequency, and it drops it, essentially.
Okay, lovely. So
Yeah.
you're launching this probe?
Yeah, but before, the only caveat to that, we're assuming this is a space octopus. Real life octopuses, when they are in a fight or flight mode, will eject ink. If we follow the logic that this is a space octopus, what are we assuming
Kevin, don't give him ideas.
what is that what will that ejection be? Would it be black? Would it be an energy source?
Well, the good thing is that an octopus's defence, the ink is essentially, it's a passive defence. So in other words, it uses ink to hide its retreat. It doesn't attack.
Yep.
So if we do follow that logic, then it's likely that it'll be some sort of a way of obscuring its retreat, which shouldn't pose a threat to us. I mean, we don't know, but
So
if you follow that logic, that would seem to me
let's
logical.
assume whatever we do to it, we may get a passive.
We might. I mean, presumably we're going to we're at sort of alert status anyway. But again, because the hull is breached on the other ship, we're running out of time.
Do we need to get a red alert?
Oh, that's up to the commander, isn't it?
We don't need to go to red alert yet. We could
We can only go to yellow alert.
go to yellow alert. I also want Kalesh to be running weapon scans against the creature
Gathering tracking data, targeting data.
to get some targeting data, just in case it is something that, there's something that she can pick up that might work for us as well. Because
Of the creature, yeah.
yeah, for the creature. Because if we have to attack it to get to free the ship, I want us to be ready for that.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Initially with her scans, she sort of says to you, I can tell you it's got no shields, and I can tell you it's got no phasers. Apart from that, it's hard for me to make a tactical sort of analysis of this creature, because it's not like a star.
No.
But she does keep sort
pretzels.
of looking into stuff.
I'll do them this ship.
You launching your probe?
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's pulsating different energy types, is that right?
Yeah. So
To see if
there's two reasons for doing this. First reason to see what reaction the octopus gives, and if it's a case that one particular energy source has no reaction whatsoever, we might want to look at repurposing the vigilance energy source to emulate that, to see if we can actually fly blind to the octopus.
Okay.
So it's kind of two to see if what affects the creature, and then as a secondary to see if we can utilise that as a attempt to make the visually invisible.
Okay, sure. So the probe goes out, sort of pulsating. When it meets, it's probably halfway between the two of you. The octopus lunges for it. It grabs the probe.
Track the beam on the
It crushes the probe.
Yeah.
And now it seems to have gotten sight of the Vigilant, and it's starting to move towards the Vigilant.
Has it released the other ship, or is it still?
It's still got it. It's sort of pulling it behind it.
Oh shit.
Well, shall I try and do the modulate main deflector?
On this thing.
Shall I try and let's try the trick now. So that has proven.
Make some maneuvers.
So that has proven that the creature is aware of its surroundings. It's aware of a perceived threat. It's reacted to a perceived threat. And interestingly, because it hasn't crushed, I mean, maybe the only reason it hasn't crushed the other ship is because the shields are up, obviously, that's probably why. So I'd like to then, so I'm going to basically instigate this modulation of the deflector dish, and the idea is I'm going to hit the ship with a beam from our deflector dish with the intention of remodulating its shields to effectively give this thing a shock to make it drop. It's
so
meal.
The shields are up. Life force, you checked, and the not life force,
The
atmosphere is degrading, so power's going down. At some point, power
There's
is
a whole bridge.
there is a whole bit. So it's getting close to running out of complete power, and therefore it will get crushed completely. If we're assuming that the only thing that's keeping this uncrushed is the shields.
You're assuming that when it runs out of air, it's going to run out of power.
Well, there's already a hull breach, so at some point it's going to run out of power and will get crushed.
So can I give this a go and see what it does?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this shouldn't cause the other ship's shields to collapse. The idea is it agitates the shield, so it kind of gives it a bit of a boost, and it goes. So I'm going to. So I would suggest then it's probably insight and engineering, maybe. Either that or probably insight and engineering.
Me too.
Because I'm trying to innovate. So I think insight is when you're
Yep. It's definitely engineering.
So 13. So I've got So I've got
and this is going to be a difficulty of. So you already generated a
trait
for this. So that's going to take the difficulty down. So it will be a difficulty of 1. So you need 1 success.
Which is what I got.
Perfect.
So 1 success.
So it is successful, and the octopus does release the other ship, but now it is steaming. Like it's picked up speed and it's coming.
Evasive maneuvers grabbed another ship.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to throw the ship into evasive maneuvers.
Yep.
To try and get out of its way.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to use. I'll use one of the traits, the evasive.
I feel like we should switch over to red alert.
Okay, one of your maneuver traits. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 2 left.
And
that's going to add a
also-
+2 to your maneuver when it comes to its turn and it tries to attack you.
Okay.
Well, that's red alert.
Do you want to go to red alert? Okay.
Yeah.
So going to red alert, that will power up your shields and it will also power up your phasers.
So okay.
Wait, we were on yellow alert anyway.
Were we? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Actually, no.
Engineering didn't get the memo.
I didn't get that many. I was too busy remodulating the deflector shield.
Lovely. So we are now then. I'd say we're sort of in a combat round, and the first action is for you to take this defensive maneuver. Right. Okay. So then, when it comes to its turn, which will be next, its difficulty will be too higher because of.
So did you say also the phasers get energized?
And the phasers, yes, because you're red alert.
So our maximum speed is now warp 2. Okay.
But we're at sublight anyway.
Yeah, we are.
But you can, just because you're in red alert, it does power down your phasers.
Of course, yeah.
It's just when you enter red alert, the
we
computer
don't.
automatically does it.
We don't need. Right now, we don't need the phasers.
They should be able to outrun it.
Well, so I leave the phasers charged anyway. Yeah, because I mean it's an organic life form, so surely it can't fly at warp speed.
Yeah, I'll take us up to warp 1.
Okay.
Pull a curve in.
What is the other ship doing, by the way? Because this is all well and good, but we're forgetting about the purpose of our mission. I.e. the other ship. Is it?
Well, that's the whole thing. My thing was to get out the way, just so that we can.
No, fair enough. If the octopus is chasing us, it's not chasing them. But obviously,
But I would
now
like-
they've been released.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
Presumably the ship
I
is
know one of
drifting
them was
back.
It is drifting. Yeah.
the gravitation.
Also, if you remember, there were
navigation.
the life signs were unconscious.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to try.
There's a gravitational metric eddy and a gravitational.
There's a gravimetric eddy,
Yep.
which are the little whirlpools.
Yep.
And then you picked up a source of a gravitational eddy,
Oh, yeah.
which is coming from the octopus.
Welcome.
These are both Star Trek terms that I got. I think I actually took them from the books.
Right. So basically, I'm just going to roll the ship down and away from it.
Yep.
Try to get past. Yeah, just get past it to get to the thing, and then
Yeah.
we can drop. We
Sort
can
of
drop
like
that.
an evasive course to try and come within range of the ship, the trap ship.
Okay, so almost a bit like a bullfighter move, right? So it's coming for you. You want to dodge to the
Yeah,
side
sort
and
of
get
like
past
down
it.
and round.
Yep.
Work out how big the tentacles are, just so we can like, don't want to give you.
They're big enough to cause a
Don't want
strain.
to have you doing Millennium Falcon moves.
Unfortunately, the tentacles are 7 AU in length, so.
Okay, so as you move past it, it's going to attempt to swipe you.
Yeah.
Steve, can you help me out again with the combat? So if it's going to attempt to make an action,
Hold on a minute. Do you want me to dig out the reference sheet? So it's basically making a hand-to-hand attack, right?
yes.
Okay, give me a second. I tend to use this rule, which is the starter rules. These are nice summarised. Okay, so if you are
Starship.
Okay, so it's going to
Making
be daring
a-
and security, right?
correct, so it is a type of attack.
Which will be a difficulty of 1, but because of your manoeuvre, that's making it a difficulty of 3.
Yep,
I've got a
that's
focus.
right. So daring security, quite right. Yep,
Yep. And it
it's
is
opposed by.
yep to your daring and security.
Yep.
Okay, so Mike, if you can make a daring and security roll.
Yeah.
for
Can
me,
I
please.
use focuses and?
What have you-
I've
what
actually
have you
got
got?
talent I might be able to use as well. I've got helm operation,
Oh,
Yep, that's pretty
Right.
relevant.
and I'm going to try and get a talent, which is cat-like reflexes, which should give me, means I can move quicker reactions.
Okay,
Which source book is that in? Location.
Yeah.
It's in the beta quadrant, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've got.
You got it written down there.
Right, this is the one that.
Okay, so what does the talent do for you?
I want to do a rally.
okay, nice. We'll do this roll
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
is that cool?
Yep, no,
Says cases have quick reflexes. They also possess great dexterity and have acute sense of sight and smell. And what I'm saying is dexterity is sort of.
So what's the mechanical thing you need to do? What does it do for you? So you've got to make a daring and security.
Oh no,
roll to avoid it,
sorry,
so-
yeah. Okay, during a round of any combat, if you have not actually taken minor action by spending one momentum dice immediately. Oh, sorry, it doesn't apply.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So
But you do
So
have your
it's-
focus.
And I do it, yeah, helm operation.
Yep, so a daring and security roll for me. Ooh, so I did actually get 3. No, I didn't, because that's a 7. So I only got 2 successes, so I didn't make it.
might be worth saying if he gets a complication, because if he does, we could argue that he's misfired a thruster or something.
Yeah.
5 and a 10,
So 2 successes then.
2 successes.
Okay, cool.
So that probably means it's kind of grasped and you've just managed, because you've matched it.
Yeah.
But my difficulty was 3,
Okay.
and your difficulty was 1.
Oh, so you succeed.
Because they both would have normally been 1, but because of your manoeuvre, it made
Ah,
mine a 3.
excellent.
So
Okay, so
I
you
don't
actually-
succeed,
fine,
but you do
perfect.
succeed. Okay.
So then you easily, I guess you easily avoid it. You make it look easy.
So what's this rally?
Okay, so I roll a presence and command
Yep.
versus 0, and the successes generated are used for momentum.
Cool.
Basically, I'm going This is what we train for, guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So
Simple.
turn goes back to you guys. So if that's
You do that as your action, that's fine.
Yeah, it's my action. Okay, so my target is under 13. No successes.
You're crap at rallying. All that motivational speech, that's rubbish.
Listen, guys.
Two successes.
We're doing their job.
Never mind, Commander. Everybody has performance issues.
No,
Okay, so we go back to
He's trying to tell us that he's going to get Brexit done, and we're not buying into it.
Still,
He couldn't even arrange to end up in a ditch.
What's it? Strong and steadfast, guys. Strong and steadfast.
Yeah, look what that got us.
Right.
Okay, so as you were moving past it and it was moving towards you and you avoided it, for its turn it has to turn and sort of move to pursue, so it can't actually get to you because you're moving away, you're moving towards too.
Right.
But it is pursuing after you.
Yeah.
So
Is
that's
it
its turn.
pacing us? Is it
It is keeping pace, yeah, but it won't be able to catch you unless you were to.
So at least we're keeping it away from the other ship. That's a good thing.
We have the manoeuvre.
We don't really want to fire on it though, if we can help it.
No, I don't want to fire on you.
Our mission is exploration.
I'd
And if all
like,
else fails, we'll hit it with antimatter weapons. But
I want to test a theory. The theory of there's always a bigger fish in the sea. Somewhere in this book there's a picture of a gigantic space dragon.
Space dragon.
there is, yeah.
There is. So I'm going to look at the our records to see if we have the vocal recording of that space dragon and attempt to play that on Haley.
You're going to do an Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm going to see
great
if,
dragon.
you know.
Are you sure it's this rule?
Yeah.
So-
I've just seen it in the black and white one, so I'm going to find a picture.
So is now an appropriate time to remind you, sir, that there's no sound in space, sir.
We're alright from the Klingons then, aren't we?
So for that, you are using the ship's computers.
Yes.
Okay. To look through its databanks, and I believe it is actually there's something in. Bear with me. If you're looking, I should also look.
Are you still looking for this dragon?
Yes.
Oh my
Mythical
God.
dragon.
So there's a picture of a dragon.
How long will it take us to get to the ship?
So
It's the other way,
my
Kevin,
understanding,
towards the
if this
back.
is
Oh,
right,
it's
is
towards the
that you are having the octopus chase you. Yeah. So you can get to the ship whenever you want, but then you are bringing the octopus to the ship.
no.
But
So
from
what
what
I'll
I
do-
from
what
what I
I'll
understood,
do
you're just trying to keep
is-
it away, right?
It let go of the ship, so I got it to chase us.
Well, I think the first
So
aim
if you
was
chase
to
it, then
release
pull
the
it-
other ship.
Yeah, so if I pull it away from the ship and then gradually swing round and head
How many
back to the ship.
probes? How many probes do we have left? I'll start again.
We have sufficient probes, sir. And probes
Program up a couple of more with the energy thing, and then
Actually, that's a point. Could we
I'd rather not waste them, sir, but yes, if that's
Could we
what
get
you
one
wish.
to? Maybe we could get one to that could simulate the power emissions from the Vigilant and use it as a decoy.
Nitro racing guys don't get like
Yeah,
You should do that. I guess.
shoot it off so the octopus goes chasing after that. We
go to
go,
warp. Go to warp. It
we-
goes off at a slower speed. In another
we go
direction.
dark. Oh yeah, we cut the drive, go
It
dark.
does assume.
We're
of
not going
course-
dark. We're just going to warp. Hopefully.
Well,
Is
we
this
have
thing?
more.
Wait.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
is this
more
thing following? Is
capable.
this thing
Yes, it
following
is.
us at warp?
Yes,
Alright,
it
it's a
is.
space
There you
dragon.
Space dragon.
Okay.
go. Yes,
But
it
is
is.
it? But is it matching speed or is it going faster?
Matching us at the moment.
Okay. So the thing then would be fire a probe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bring up a probe to mimic the Vigilant, and then we fire it off at warp
Okay, here we
speed.
go. Science and computers. To use the ship's library of archives to perform scientific research or to analyse. So I'm saying it's going to be the ship's computers and science, which is a total of 10. You need the one success to be able to find this, and you've got a complication. Okay, so for that
He
complication,
finds a mating call.
Your browsing history has just been made public across the entire ship.
your that's a mini complication.
No, go for it.
Okay, so in an
That's
attempt
that's
to
possible.
speed the computer up in searching for its archives, you sort of diverted a little bit of power.
Kevin?
It's enough to decelerate you for the octopus to be able to catch up, and the octopus is going to grab hold of the ship.
Well done there, lad.
I mean,
You don't know that.
that's quite a mean complication.
Slow
but
hand
there it
clap
is.
on the bridge and go, well done, Osterhagen. Well done.
Five quicker, woman.
But because so it's now your guys' turn because I'm having him catch and grab you.
Right.
So it's now back to you guys.
So can
down
I?
down to Lyra.
So I now
Am I going to have
know.
to send you for diversity training
I
again?
now know the frequency that
You were
we
supposed to be
generated in the other ship's
remodulating a
shields
probe.
to cause the octopus to drop
diversity
it.
training.
Yeah.
I will be myself.
So I can presumably, if I modulate our own shields to that same frequency,
Yep.
then hopefully that will repel it again. So in other words, I put a shock through our shields.
Good.
So if I use, I guess
I
probably...
mean, we've still got the remodulated main deflector.
Okay, so I'm going to go with insight and engineering again.
So
Difficulty.
the difficulty standard would be 1, but because of that, you've actually dropped it to 0. So
So
technically,
it's
this is
momentum,
going to work.
hopefully.
Okay.
And complications, shite. Okay, so I've got 1 success. So that gives me 1 point of momentum. I'm going to spend the momentum to buy off the complication.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So I'll just cancel the complication. I think we've got enough complications as it is. Does that everyone agree?
Yeah.
So okay, 1 point. So I
You weren't
just
gonna like that.
no, I didn't think I was. So I kind of go. Her fingers are flying over the console, and essentially the shields from outside. You see the shields do that kind of weird. A blue glow goes round the invisible bubble
Beautiful.
as they kind of the frequency changes, and where the tentacles
Get on
hit
the
the shields,
phone.
it's like almost like force lightning. It sort of crackles, and the thing rears back from it.
Excellent.
But I may need to keep remodulating because it may build up a tolerance to that. So I'm not going to assume that it's going to be put off by that same frequency. So I will, until Naismith orders me differently, I'll just keep modulating the shields to keep it guessing.
Okay. So as you do that and it releases, the creature vanishes.
Holy shit!
It quite literally vanishes, and your displays light up, and you are reading a strong pulse of gravitational eddies sort of coming from it. So it itself has just...
Oh, so does that imply that it's using them to transport, or is it being captured by one? Maybe we don't know.
Or it's traveling because of one. The eddies are a byproduct. Well, that's all well and good.
We should get back to the
Yeah.
ship.
Swing it around.
Reverse course.
Swing around and bring it back to the.
Are we staying at? Do you want us to go down? Are we staying at red alert for now?
Go down to yellow.
Okay, so we'll go back to yellow. So I'm assuming that's yellow there, right? So
No,
fine.
the shoes are full.
So you can... you don't have to put the power back. It's entirely up to you. The
shields
allocation
is
of power.
full.
It's
shields
just
full.
when you do go to yellow or red alert, then you have to transfer the power.
Got it.
You can move it away again.
Okay, so that means we've got a maximum speed now, warp 3. I think.
We
It's
haven't
in
been
terms
traveling
of
that long, so we won't be.
Okay.
We'll be back.
It's
We're
like
keeping the shields up at
3.5 or something like that.
We have got.
So we're keeping the shields up at full for now.
Okay, bro.
We've got recordings of outside of the ship, haven't we? So we record.
Yeah, the
a video
sensor
recording
logs will
of
report
the
everything.
the creature. So I want to check the logs to see at what point it went through the probe. Was it the point it was released, the point it came into visual contact, or the point it noticed the? If it's possible to determine whether at the first point it noticed the energy signature.
So you can't tell what it was that attracted it, but you can tell. You can look through the log of the different signature pulses,
Yeah.
and you can mark down. Well, when it got to this pulse, that's when the octopus came for it. Whether or not it was responding to that particular pulse, whether or not it was responding to visual sight.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing.
the best thing you can get is the actual signature of the pulse at the time. Okie doke. So you're returning to the other vessel, yeah?
Best possible speed.
Yep.
Necessary control.
That signature of the pulse, is there any correlation between the signature of that pulse and the energy signature of the damaged ship?
Make a science and is it reason? Reason
Yes.
science.
Two successes.
2 successes. In a way, yes, they're not exactly identical, but they are on the same frequency.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, returning to the ship, your sensors will pick up that their shields are still falling. So there is possibly some sort of energy leak or something, but the shields are coming down. They're down to about 7%.
Okay, is it possible for us to beam through it? Is it worth a go to try and transport them out?
Who wants to risk being transported through shields at full slap?
It's a choice between that and suffocating. I suppose they might prefer to. Because we can't really force their shields to go down. If there's nobody on board that ship who's awake to lower them, obviously, because we know that they're unconscious. So we either have to wait for the shields to fall. Although I guess that seems to be happening, so we could just wait. But
Can we get?
can we put it in a tractor beam and just tractor it away?
Well, I want to tractor it away to start heading towards the other satellite, the other probe. However, is it possible to work at a rate of decay
Yes.
with the shields?
Yeah, I think so.
There we go.
It shouldn't take long to analyse the rate of decay. Because it is decaying, so it would just take a moment to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we figured it out. So yeah, you can pinpoint the moment that the shields will come fully down.
Okay.
Can we get sensor locks? Can we get lock-on to the occupants? Can
Um,
we get transported?
Not through shields.
We've got a reading on them, so we know that they're there.
you
but
did
we
get a
can't-
reading on them, yeah.
Yeah, we've got to read it. But
So
we can't-
the reason that you can is because their shields are they're modified slightly, like it's a different design of ship, partly organic. So you don't know if you're getting slightly false readings, but you are getting some readings from it.
I'm a bit concerned that the people are in the organic part are them as well. So like you beam them out and the ship's just that's a side thing.
No, he said it was actually no,
Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way, but maybe we should go over to them rather than bring them to us.
But the trouble is, once the shields get down, that's it.
You can get a lock on once a shield. No, once a shield go down, all we've got to contend with is unless there is no atmosphere, i.e. it's all leaked out, we should be fine because we can go with suits. If the shields go down and there's no atmosphere, we can still beam them off as a last resort. But it might be better to beam someone across and see if it's possible to repair the hull.
Yeah.
And then
Or we could.
nope.
Hang on a minute. Could we use force fields to patch their hull? Because we know that they've got a breach in the hull.
Yeah, but you need to get through their shields.
Well, when the shields, the problem is, but like I said,
Why
we
don't
don't want
we
that.
agree-
No, we've got to get them off. We've got to get them off soon.
Could we extend the shields, our shields around him? Pump up? No, we wouldn't be able to pump up.
You still need to worry about. The thing is, we need to wait. How long do we estimate the shield's going to last
Maybe 4 minutes.
for? Oh, okay. So it is
Okay,
relatively quick. 3.
I'll give you this
Oh,
piece of
this-
information, that once their shields do go down, there isn't necessarily an immediate threat.
No.
So it might just be a section of their ship that's hulled rather than because it was.
No, that's why I want to beam someone. We can beam a party aboard to thing.
Okay, I'll get
Engineer, medical.
Isn't necessarily like I'm just saying that it's
Yeah.
not kind of there's an obvious.
Could we-
Once the shields go, then they're done for.
could we say-
I'm also saying that that's not necessarily the case.
No, but the thing that's why I'm monitoring also the thing because if the atmosphere goes, the moment if the shields go, then we've got a problem.
I think you're right. I think it makes better sense to go to them than to bring them to us because, as you said, because we've never met this species before.
Could we send a runabout over to Doug?
We'll just beam over. We're going to take us on the runabout. Because then what happens if the octopus comes back and then you've got to redock the runabout? No, that's not. Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think we just beam over.
No.
Environment suits, beam over. Medical team.
Stand down from yellow alert.
Aye, sir. Where do you want to leave the shields at? Shall I leave them at 75%?
Well, we're going to need the shields to
for
go
now?
down if we want to beam some people aboard.
That's true. All right.
Come on, Captain. Request permission to lead a boat and away team onto that ship.
Yeah, okay.
So
Mr. Hogan, do you want to go?
Yep.
the Vigilant,
Yes.
its stats are. We've got Vigilant here, haven't we? We've got shields.
Yep, 13.
At 13, right? If you do leave that lower, then that's technically leaving this score lower.
Got it. Yep.
Okay.
Understood. So perfectly understood. Yeah, good way of looking at it, and that's very much in genre. Say shields are 75%. Not like that. That's excellent. I'm going to totally nick this whole idea.
Well, it depends if it works or not. You know, this is playtesting. So,
I'm good.
okay, their shields are about to reach 0.
Okay, so you, because you wanted to go aboard. No taking samples. Do you want to go aboard, or do you want to stay?
I'll stay on the Vigilant.
Yeah, you stay on the Vigilant.
Unless they need me to come and look at the engines, obviously. But you go and assess the situation.
Can the engineer from the runabout? Can the engineering crew perform an external
Yeah, of course.
seal of the breach of the shield of the ship?
Well, I guess if you take an
Does the
engineer,
doctor want to go, or will
If
we
you want
wait
to take the doctor, that's up to you guys.
Do you want to take that, or do you want
said
to
you
wait
want
to
to take
see
a
what?
doctor rather than
Or do you want to take a medical team, a medical member with you, or do you want to wait to see?
I would say you want to take a medical person and probably a
Yeah.
security person,
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
that's what you do,
Yeah.
and an engineer. So I'll detail one of my engineers to go. We'll send Rollins, shall we? Chief Rollins. He hasn't been out for a while, so we'll send Chief
Kalesh want to
Rollins.
stay around because of sorry, you carry on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna. It's fine. No, that's
Kalesh
fine.
stay around because of the squid, or would she want to go to the ship?
She says you're in command. The choice is yours. I'll go where you send me.
You stay. Send someone over.
Right. So we'll send an engineer.
Yep.
And then we'll send one of the security guards. I guess I can make up names, but I've got names obviously on the crew list if you want them. But
Okay.
so I read them out for the record. So hold on a minute. So I'm going to send for the record. So we're sending Kaz, Osterhagen. I suggest should we send? Why don't we send Rannoch for the medical people? Because obviously, Rannoch's daughter. Send Rannoch. We'll send B Rannoch as she's a paramedic, and I'm sending McHugh from engineering. So Alice McHugh. So she's the other engineering watch officer.
Perfect.
So she's going over from engineering, and then from security.
Rollins, wasn't it?
Correction. Yeah, we'll send Rollins. Correction. So we'll send Rollins instead of McHugh, and then security will send Hendricks
What's to decide now?
from security.
I want the computer to check which frequency the octopus phased out at, and then send that to my tricon. So if it phased out at 32
So if it phases
hertz,
back in, you can detect it coming back.
I also want to see if I can then detect anything at 32 hertz, if it's 32 hertz
Yep.
in the ship.
Okay.
So the minute it picks up the frequency,
You want to match a similar. See if you can match a
Yeah.
similar frequency aboard the ship. Yeah. Brilliant.
So there's our away team, and as I say, we'll put them in environment suits.
Okay. Yep. So you did this all very quickly in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say you've
Getting
got 4
ready.
minutes ready to go in 4 minutes. Meet on the platform.
We did it in a
We're
cut.
trained for this
well
shit.
honed team.
We did it in a cutscene.
It's Star Trek accuracy. You're literally ready just as the
Well,
shields
we're-
come down, and there's no time to spare.
We're in the coffee. We're still drinking coffee. Well, you do this, and I'll do that.
Yeah.
We've got
Tea
plenty.
break. What tea break?
Union regulations, I require 15-minute break.
10 o'clock. Don't try and get a coffee out of the coffee machine at 10 o'clock because it's
No.
tea break. Everyone's getting a bloody coffee.
Okay, so technically you would have to power up the transporter, but if you wanted to then take the power off the transporter, you could do
We'll
that.
assume that I've powered the transporters up and then we'll.
But if you want to keep the transporters powered for like,
I'm powering
Yeah, we
them.
do need to keep them powered.
Yeah, I'm powering them up just in case.
This is where it's going to become fun.
okay, so
No, I like this idea.
you transport them across with no complications.
Transporters are full power.
Okay, and we see our away team dematerialise aboard the Vigilant. Scene cuts. We are aboard an alien vessel, and we see them rematerialise. Now, the alien vessel, it's dim. There are flashing lights, but it does look very organic. Organic, but also not crafted. But it's got a uniform shape. It doesn't look. It's not Geiger-esque.
I was going to say,
It's
you read my mind. I was just about to say, does it look anything like HR Geiger? In which case, get the hell out!
In that case, we're still in Steve's scenario.
Yeah, there's a crossover.
But all the shapes of things are very sort of smooth, There's no sharpness to anything.
So it looks like the ship's been grown.
It looks like they ran out of budget
It
last
does.
week.
It looks
so-
a lot more like it's been grown than it. It's,
Nice.
It's Kew Gardens at night.
It's a Julie. Julie.
Yeah, so there is sort of a klaxon going, a siren going, and yeah, it's very sort of low light. You do see some bodies around. Now remember, you picked up 6 life forms. Instantly, you see more than 6 bodies. A tricorder
Assuming
scan
some are dead.
would pick up the.
So presumably, Rannoch, she immediately brings her tricorder out and starts scanning to see who's alive. Rollins. So Rollins
Turning
also.
towards death.
That would be a bit soon.
Yeah, but does it look like they've died of that?
So some of them.
Or do they look like they've got burn marks on their bodies? Or
Yeah, so there are some trauma deaths. So some like blunt force trauma from falling.
Yeah.
Some look to be suffocation, and their time of death happened to be after the blunt force trauma ones. And in fact, this particular area that you guys are in, because you're all in your suits, right? There isn't sustainable life support in this particular area, but you do. There are other pockets aboard the ship. Now, the reason you weren't transported into a safe zone is because the nature of the ship being organic, it's harder to sort of pinpoint areas. So the organicness, teleporting into an organism seems to be messing with things slightly.
So
Cas the Vigilant.
It does come.
No, I'm going to
Okay.
eat
I'm
it.
afraid
That's
there's
what
no
I'm
one here to take your call right now. If you'd like to leave a message, we'll get
Request send some pattern enhancers over. Transport pattern enhancers.
Okay.
That way we can beam out from.
So meanwhile, Rollins, so as Rollins starts to try and scan the structure of the ship, because if we're going to make repairs to the hull, which is one of our possible options, so he's just using his engineering tricorder to kind of scan the composition of the hull, so that we can fabricate or provide material to repair, to patch the hull, essentially. But obviously he can't do that on his own at the moment. But
So good call on the
pattern enhance.
because back on the ship you have got transport a lock on your crew, but you're unable to get a lock on the other life forms because the organic nature of the ship is very similar to the organic makeup of these
individuals.
And so because we've got, good shout, Sean, because we that's why I think it was a good idea not to bring them over to us, because there might be some sort of physiological link we're not aware of. So I guess do we want to try and treat them over there rather than bring them back to us?
Firstly, what we're dealing with.
I mean, I guess we still send over the pattern enhancers anyway, because we might need them for us, just in case if the organic interference gets too much.
That way we can get. They can keep a track on us even if we get.
Because obviously we have our comm badges, which do act as a homing beacon. But again, if the hull is scattering the targeting lock, that's probably not bad.
One of the things I want to make sure is that the science officer is scanning for any octopi.
Yep.
He's taking DNA samples at the moment. He's
No, not it. No, we're going to need. Someone else would be on there.
Oh, we didn't send another science officer.
We sent him.
Yeah.
So we'd have another.
Somebody on the bridge.
Someone's on the bridge. Yeah. No, he's not sitting on that thing going.
He's taking scrapings off the wall. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You totally are, aren't you? I knew it.
I actually have a crazy idea.
I would say.
We'll get to that.
I would say. See if it's possible to see if you can. We're sending the pattern on, so to see if you can work out if you can get the ship going. Otherwise, if it's possible to beam them over.
Okay.
Do you want Rollins then to go look for engineering? Because that's what I guess what he's there for. So, this section we're in, how large is the section we're in? Is it a big open space, or is it? This
is corridor-esque.
Oh, like a
How
thoroughfare. Okay.
big is the ship?
You would estimate it would have a crew of maybe 200.
Okay,
So it's
so
not
Big
big.
ship then.
Bigger
Is that
than we
big?
are.
I thought that was relatively.
That's relatively small for Star Trek. I mean, Vigilant is a lot. Vigilant's only got a crew of 50, but that's
Yeah,
because the
the ship.
Vigilant is
Well, I mean, is the
small.
ship still bigger than ours?
Comparative size. Comparative size.
Yeah, okay. But there's just more crew. Because the Defiance, a lot of engine and a lot of weapons. It's not all crew
And
stuff.
then you possibly have the things that have been grown to do things. Which
Mind
take up less
you,
space.
the was it Voyager's only got a crew of
150.
150, and it's the same size as the Constitution class.
Right. Okay. Then I'm going to retcon. I'm going to say that the crew size is more like 60.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatevs. So this area is like a so we're like a corridor section essentially.
Yeah.
So so Rollins will therefore so again, based upon the notion that most species have the same overall design aesthetic, i.e. engines at the back, control at the front. He's going to head aft. He's obviously we'll all be armed because that's standard practice.
Yeah.
But he's just using his tricorder and he's basically heading backwards looking for the engineering section. So he heads towards the aft of the ship. Are there airlocks? Because obviously if this area is decompressed, we're going to have a bit of an issue to get from here into the rest of the ship. Because if he opens a door, presumably it won't. We don't know whether it will actually allow him to exit this area, given that it's depressurised. But he'll head aft and see what he finds. So
Okay. Brilliant. And what is everyone else doing? So you've had your pattern enhancers sent across.
Okay. Well, we're going to head forward into.
do you want to set the pattern enhancers up in this area as our sort of rally point? Because obviously you've got to actually set them up for them to be useful. You don't just carry
Yeah.
them.
I was actually thinking of taking them with us because then we can, if we're into the more thicker part of the ship.
But don't the pattern enhancers have to? You have to set them up in a
So
circular pattern to make an area that.
Yes, but if we take them with us, we can set them
That
up.
means
in
we're all
the
going
ship.
together then.
B. Hrannock says that she's picked up the 6 life signs. They're all together.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So we'll head for them then. So that makes sense. Okay, so Rollins will rejoin the group and we'll stick together.
You all want to stick together, yeah?
If that's the plan, yeah.
Am I getting any response back from the frequency check?
Yes, you get a ping. You do get a ping.
So the Vigilant has then
Anybody
told
want
me
a cookie?
it's
Want a cookie?
Oh yeah, my God, you are
frequency
good.
32 megahertz, and then they told me
Yep.
I'm scanning for 32 megahertz.
Yep.
Okay.
Cookie?
Yes, there is a very
Kevin? Kerry? Milk chocolate?
Probably worth an extra dice.
I hope you're not implying because I'm trying to carry forward.
the source of it is coming from the after the ship, from the rear, where you'd assume the engine would be.
Fair enough.
I'm going to head for the engines.
Okay.
So basically, is this where the life signs are as well, or is it
No, they are.
So what do you?
If you're heading
who's
for the
in,
engine-
hang on a minute. Who's in command? So you're in command of this
Yeah,
landing
I'm gonna
point.
send Rollins
So where
with
do you
you.
want me to go? Where do you want Rollins to go?
Well, if you go to the if everyone goes to the
Because Rollins is the engineer. So where do you want where do you want him to go?
yeah. So send Rollins with what's the Harlequin,
Right,
and the rest of us will make our way to the.
where the life signs are. Okay, fine. There you go. That makes sense.
Okay. So you, for some of the guys going for the life signs, you enter the area that the life signs are at. There is a series of doors that sort of open out, almost like a piece of skin holding back, like an eyelid. Just not as gross, but it's got a fluidity of. And they're closed behind you, sort of as you walk.
Yeah.
You enter a room that you would imagine to be the breach of the ship,
Okay.
where these 6 life forms are that all appear to be unconscious. There are no other bodies in there, so these seem to be isolated in wherever they were.
What do they look like?
Oh, sorry, of course.
No, I just none of us asked. So I suppose. we should-
So they are they're sort of humanoid in build, very slender, very long. Their heads are they're akin to maybe like a pea pod, so they kind of point down and upwards. They have the ones that appear to be sort of female have got like a ridge, almost like a Mohican, and the ones that appear to be male have got the similar but sort of
So like a beard, as opposed
almost
to
like yes.
to a mohawk.
But they don't have noses. They have large eyes.
How do they smell? Awful.
And their mouths look as though they would sort of split.
Okay, here's a question. I've got what's Hendrix? Security, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who's ever science? We never took it.
Hold on. No, Osterhagen's for science.
Yeah, I
The other
thought
side, no, the science person's on the Vigilant because Osterhagen's
okay.
on board, so Osterhagen is science.
Right, because as I say, I just wanted to see whether the organic part of the ship is it the same DNA structure or is it
Good question.
same as the creature as the crew?
Okay.
Is it the same biological?
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So the B Hannock, the
Medical,
yeah. She's a bit sort of flustered with the question. And she's like, she's
What
sort of trying.
rank is she again?
She's an ensign, I believe.
She's not an ensign. She is
Enlisted.
enlisted personnel.
She is. You're right. Yeah, so she's like a specialist. She'll be a specialist.
Enlisted paramedic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like a specialist.
So she's kind of like.
I'll just turn around to sort of like relax specialist. Take your time. do
Easy
your
for
job.
you to say.
It's hard to tell. My triquad.
My tricord is not working.
These beings appear to be more plant than they are human.
Why did she go Woody Allen? I went Woody Allen now. Or something.
I took more like Kermit.
I've never been a little girl, so I don't know.
Well, there was one time at band camp.
One thing they called it banned.
So yeah, she sort of states that they've got almost like a plant makeup to them.
Yeah.
And she says the
The
ship
bug-
the ship also has a similar thing. So it's almost as though it's got a connection like mammals have a connection, but the ship doesn't appear to be the same DNA as them.
Right, so it's not.
Sorry about the door.
It's not. What it's trying to get at is the ship might be sentient. We don't know. But it's. What I'm saying, yeah, it's not the same species.
No. But yeah, she's like, with my limited stuff, there's only so much I can do here. If we were back on the Vigilant, I'm sure I could run further tests. Cut to engineering, or the after the ship.
On our way, as we walk down there, I'm going to send a message to the security, to my second in command. The
Here we go.
He's writing stuff down. That's very worrying.
And this is where the scenario goes.
Did I tell you I managed to get into Simon's Star Trek game at Dragonmeet? I actually booked a ticket because luckily I noticed that they were taking pre-advanced bookings this year.
yeah.
So I'm actually playing in his Code of the Space Lanes, but he's running original series Star Trek.
Have you got any of the code of the space lanes?
Sorry?
Have you got any of the code of the space?
I haven't. I'm going to buy that. I'm actually going to order the book tomorrow.
I have got.
But it's just the same as the comics code, so it's the 2D60. But the point is, he's running it, and it's original series Star Trek. So I thought I've got to get into that. So I've actually managed to get a spot. So I'm happy about that.
I'm working Saturday, so I can't make it. I've got blacklist Saturday. I may want something. If I want something, I'll let you know.
Let me know. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Does that make sense?
It does. Now,
Here we go.
I don't want to screw you, but I'm just wondering where this guy's loyalties lie. Like, if he should report these strange orders, or no?
That's the test. It's not. It's a theoretical.
Oh, okay.
It's a theoretical test.
Theoretical
It's,
test. That's what it says. Of
what-
course. Yeah. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, he's used to getting
Running
strange
a,
orders from you.
I can't remember,
It's like,
I can't
do the
remember the
job
phrase,
description.
but it's you're running a
Simulation.
Asset simulation.
Yes. Yep.
Running a
Perfect.
simulation to see if that would work,
Okay.
and if it would work, I'm going to use that as my crazy idea that might just work.
Okay. Cool. Now, when you do reach engineering, Rollins picks up that there doesn't seem to be any way to power this ship to sort of warp capabilities. Like, it's got sort of impulse and stuff like that, but he doesn't have a clue how it would get this far in.
So he's walking around scratching his head, and he's taking visual scans of the compartment.
If he's scratching his head, he's hard. If he's scratching his head, he's harder than we thought he was.
Well, you could just pop your arm inside your sleeve.
Rollins.
Exactly.
He's hypothetically.
He's scratching his helmet. He's going, I can't figure out how this. Sir, I can't figure out how the hell this
Okay, well, is that at
P-pod gets to warp.
At Starship
Beyond
Academy,
me.
did you do any theoretical studies?
In what field, sir? You'd have to narrow it down.
Physics, did you get
Theoretical engineering.
Yeah. Warp capabilities at different frequencies and at different gravitational.
Well, listen. My best guess is they must use somehow this ship. Ship it must interact with gravimetric fields, gravitational fields to reach warp speed. There's no antimatter component. You know, I've scanned this
It's not like
compartment.
Tellurian stuff in Discovery, is it?
Could be midichlorians. Not midichlorians. That's something else.
Targaryen.
Mycelial network. The mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or a tardigrade.
Tardigrades, is it? Tardigrades.
It says, I read about that. I read about that whole mycelial bullshit, sir. But if you want my opinion, I'm sure that was made up.
That was locked away.
I can't see
was
how
like
this.
beyond top secret. How would you know
I
about
can't
it?
see. Well, this
You want it
is
here?
to be fair. This is 200 years later as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or 150 years later.
If we assume.
Bottom line is that I can't figure out how this ship goes to.
Okay.
So,
So did you study any theoretical?
Well,
engineering?
of course, but he's enlisted man, so he probably did it for 2 weeks, and that was probably it.
Okay, so not.
No, he's a hands-on. So this guy's is your sort of bash it with a wrench until it goes. So he's very experienced, but he's not a theorist. He's you go fix that power conduit. Yeah, on it, sir. Fixed.
Okay,
But
then in that case,
if you
then-
ask him to like route 15 different power, he'd be like,
Let's try from a different angle. If we think this thing came from another dimension using a different frequency that phases at a different frequency.
I'm going to use a famous quote here. You cannot change the laws of physics, sir.
I'm gonna.
This ship has no matter-antimatter generation. There's no power source that I can see that would allow it to go to warp. There must be something in the way the ship interacts with space-time. I don't know.
The power source he is seeing, though, is degrading.
Yeah. So we know that there is some power because you have life support, you have impulse engines.
just a thought. What if it's
What's frequency there? Is that sorry? Is that's at 32?
No.
Okay. So can he see where the power source is?
Yes.
Okay. So what is it? What am I looking at?
So the power source, it looks almost like a seed, and it has sort of
So it's like a
big sort of seed like this.
a big
Yep.
seed.
And it's got these sort of I don't want to say umbilical cords, but
I know what you mean. So
one going
tendrils
upwards and one going downwards.
So in a sense, it
feeding,
looks like
feeding the ship.
looks like a warp core with warp conduits going off to the system.
It's one of those matrix sacks.
And he's going to scan it. So does it emit? Is there dilithium? So obviously,
Is it biological energy?
It is a type of biology.
okay. So does that mean?
Because I'm wondering whether it's got the same, whether the drive system on this is, the faster and light ability is the same as the Squiddy used.
Maybe. Do you think it could be something to do with also the fact that the crew are unconscious? Do you think the crew somehow contribute to
I
that?
mean, if the crew are part of the ship.
Well,
Rather than
we've established
they're
there's some sort of we know that there's no DNA similarity, but we know that there is obviously something about this. This is obviously an organic ship with a crew of a similar.
Yeah, there is actually metallic parts to this ship, isn't there? That's what you.
There is inorganic parts to it. Yeah,
like
I
hybrid.
wouldn't necessarily say it was metallic, but there is.
No, but what I'm saying is, so it's.
It's not purely grown. Not purely.
It's
not a
thing
life form. It's
Yeah.
definitely not a life form.
So it's probably worth then. I guess probably the best. We want to see if
So it's kind of
Rannoch
like
can actually rouse any of the crew, because ultimately the crew will know what's going on. So probably the priority is for her to try and...
The other thing
Wake
to
up.
consider is to ask Haranok if they share any similarities to the Philosians.
Oh, the ones from the animated series.
Yep.
Oh yeah, good shit, good time.
Oh, she hasn't watched it.
But it's not on 24th century Netflix. So. Very good. And you're not going to buy a DVD of that shit, are you, to be fair?
So, which means I haven't watched it, which means gaming the game, they don't have that. Well, who knows, they might. But.
So I shall relay this to, because Osterhagen is my sort of direct
where's the
superior, but I'll
frequency?
relate it to him.
So, before that, the power that is degrading, he believes that once it goes completely, there isn't going to be much holding the ship together.
Right, okay.
And the little bit of life support that is still active in the area that you guys are with these 6, because they're still in like a bit with life support. The rest of it seems to be
Okay, so
without
is there
atmosphere.
anything, looking at this engine core, say one better engine pod, does he in his experience that there's anything he can do? So in other words, if it was a Federation ship or a Klingon vessel, he knows that maybe the dilithium crystals need replacing, maybe all of that is stuff that he can understand because it's a technological solution. Looking at this thing, is there anything he can do? Can he?
He feels like he has got a bit of his applied theory tells him that the ship needs a doctor rather than a mechanic.
Okay, so we definitely need to wake up the crew. I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So okay, I'll communicate with Kaz. So Rollins to Kaz. Sir, we're in the engine section. We found what appears to be the power source for the ship. However, it's organic. There's no mechanical means that we can determine that can get power back. So I think it's imperative that you wake one of the crew or some of the crew because we think it needs. And I relay exactly what you said. It basically needs a doctor, not an engineer. And if she can't wake one of them, we probably need to get off this ship sooner rather than later, because once that power source goes. Can I estimate roughly how long? I mean, minutes rather than hours, probably.
20 minutes.
Days.
So we need to seriously. she needs to do whatever she has to do to wake one of these people up. Otherwise, we're going to have to get
I'll
off
give.
the ship.
I'll just.
Did I make that sound important enough for you to grasp?
Yeah.
Good. Get on it, sir.
Get back into it. I'm going to let's say what's it? B Haranok.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say to Bree. I said, you heard the man. We need to get someone around. Say something.
Okay. So she gets one of her hypo sprays, and she tries sort of rousing someone.
Stimulant or something.
It doesn't seem to work, and again she said, and she tries something else, and she's like, it's almost as though they're in a coma. I can't.
Do you want to send the doctor over?
What's the lighting conditions in the ship?
So it's
Dark.
if it wasn't for almost like an emergency light that's pulsating, then it would be dark.
Do you think this sounds really stupid? But do you think it's
think
like
they
photosynthetic? Maybe they need the light to.
You want to beam them back to the ship?
So it might be worth, but it might just be worth literally turning on hand beacons or something just to get a light source to see whether they react to
You
light.
said the ship was dark when we entered the room, into the bridge. Was it dark? Was there internal lighting?
So the only lighting at the minute is the emergency lighting. So it wasn't dark, but there is emergency lighting.
So 2 things.
The frequency, you are getting it from. It almost looks a bit like a terminal.
Yeah.
But you feel like you would have to interact with it in a way that you can't. Like you've passed some of these beings that look to almost be physically not attached to the ship, but
they can interface with it.
almost interfacing with the
So
ship.
the ship has got 60 crew. There's 6 left, so that's 10%. Is the ship down to 10% power, or is it?
No, way below that.
way below there.
Good thinking though. I see where
You're
you're
about
going.
2% power. Isn't it?
2% power.
So there's no direct correlation between the number of crew on board and.
So the ship. So we don't know how many bodies are on the ship. That was a rough estimate of 60. So it could actually be a ship that is powered by 120 people, but there's only 60 people on there. At which point your 6 could still be. It could still be symbiotic relationship between these beings and the ship. At which point, is there any bodies lying around?
Yeah.
So test it through, lift one of the bodies up and interact it with the ship.
Okay.
Physically connect it to the terminal.
Sure. There seems to be no. Not like you put sort of hand there. There's no come back from the ship. There's nothing. It's not.
But in terms of the by doing that, are the hands do they have biological interfaces, or are they just simply hands? Does it look like
They look simply like hands. Yeah. They're
Okay.
sort of little.
Just a matter of interest. It's what if a Squiddy was again? Because this ship's got no power, right?
Very little power.
Yeah. So what if Squiddy was feeding off it, sucking the energy out of it?
Very possible. I mean, that's
Because if it's
the only thing was that the
biological-
shields were up. Don't forget. So we weren't sure whether it
Yeah,
was
but
actually
does that,
directly.
does that actually
I
make?
don't know. Could be.
Because again, if it's because I say we've got the crew who are in a comatose, which is generally means they're out of energy as well.
Is it worth trying to beam one of them over to the Vigilant maybe? See whether they react.
if we
So either it could possibly kill them, of course, if we remove them from their natural environment. But it might be that light, energy, and that around them, it might revive them. But at this point, we're probably running a bit low on options, right?
It's got to be worth a try.
So we've got the transporter
Can't leave these
pattern
people,
enhancers. So maybe we get Hranox beamed back to Vigilant with pick one of the living crew members and just transport them straight back to the Vigilant and see what happens. So they're either gonna nothing's gonna happen, or they're gonna wake up, or they're gonna die. But it might give us a clue. And also, like I say, time is running out. We've literally got probably 17, 18 minutes before the ship's going to be.
Kaz to Vigilant. We want to send we want to beam Ensign Harano and one of the survivors over to the ship.
Okay.
Make the medical bay ready.
Yeah, it's more a medical cupboard really than a sick bay, isn't it?
I was being generous.
Yeah.
it's plastic first
Pretty much
aid
covered.
box. First aid box.
Medical
Yeah,
closet.
I'll take the first aid box. Sick bay's ready, sir.
Medical
What?
closet, yeah.
Fine, yeah, I think. Do we agree? Does that seem
Yeah,
sensible? I
it's
mean,
fine.
I don't know. Yeah, I've got something there, isn't there? There's some link. Okay, yeah, let's try it.
That's what I'm saying. Because if it sucked the Squiddy sucked the energy off the ship,
Yeah, maybe.
and the crew were living off that energy.
I'm really going to pick the one that looks the least important, or randomly pick one.
Yeah, just randomly pick one.
If they've got any insignia, we could pick the one with the smallest insignia, one that doesn't look like engineering.
Are these people wearing clothes? I know it's me.
They are, yeah.
They are wearing
Is there a
identifiable uniforms.
No,
No, let me
they're
rephrase
not
that.
uniforms.
No, but they are wearing identifiable items that are identifiable
Yes.
as clothes.
Yes, you could undress them if you wished to.
No.
But yeah,
Well,
they
that's
are
what I'm
wearing.
right?
But it's the do they have the insignia or anything that looks like they've all got a mark on the same shoulder sleeve?
They do not. They do not have any sort of consistency so much. You see some sort of similar style, maybe, but in the way that people wearing jeans would have a similar
Just
style,
pick
and you
anyone.
not say, "Oh, that's a uniform." They've all got the same sort of.
Okay, pick the one without dirty hands,
Is there
because they're most likely to be
the layout
the
of this
engineer.
ship, the layout of the bridge? Is there
The one without dirty hands is the
identifiable-
one likely to be the
Is there anything
engineer.
familiar
The
with
one
that?
with dirty. So
I'm not on
someone
about the
without
actual
dirty hands,
control.
with dirty
whatever.
hands is
Yep.
actually
Oh,
doing
that's
some
where the
work.
captain would sit. That's where the helm's would sit.
You would estimate so. Yeah, there is a seat relatively central that seems slightly higher
Is
up.
there a figure in it?
Yep.
Him.
Is he alive though?
I don't know. That person.
Yeah. So there's
That
the 6
person.
people in here are all conscious. So they are
Alive, but
alive,
unconscious,
but
yeah.
unconscious.
So yeah,
So
good
the
point.
person
Take
sitting in the
capture them.
seat.
Yeah, so there's a what looks to be a female sitting in that seat.
Okay. We'll take her then.
Take her and
And
be-
run up beams back over.
Okay.
So we set up the pattern enhancers around the bridge,
Yep.
and then send them back over. See what happens.
Okay, marvelous.
Are we allowed to kidnap women?
Was that?
Are we allowed to kidnap women now? I'm just marking that for future reference.
Okay, so with the pattern enhancers, I will drop the difficulty to a difficulty of 1
So
to
Try and make that
try
one.
and get the lock on this. This
So I guess I may as well make that one.
so I want a comms. This is again it's ship systems, right?
Yeah.
Rather than personal. So it's going to be comms.
What's comms?
Would it be comms? Comms and science, I'm thinking.
What have we got there? Computers.
Or would you say computers? Either way, they're both fine.
Probably go with computers,
Okay,
just because
computers.
it's
It's more computer
computers
operation rather than.
I was thinking con, but it's
probably engineering, maybe. Oh, for this is the transport.
engineering. Yeah, engineering sounds good.
Fine. So was that 11? It's an 11.
Yes,
yeah?
11. Wanted.
Don't fuck it up, dude. Okay, that's a 4. Oh, good. That's a 4. Oh, and I have a focus of transporters and replicators.
Cool.
So, and my does that apply there? Because I'm
You're operating it, so I will allow it.
so 2 successes,
2 successes. Yeah, so you generate
then. No complication.
generate 1 momentum.
Okay.
Okay, so we see
1 momentum there, boys.
them both sort of dematerialize, and we see B sort of go fully, and then there's a bit of a
The futs.
rematerialize on this other figure.
Okay.
And then they do eventually
Okay.
So there was obviously a bit of a problem with them,
Interference, yeah.
but they did get across over to the Vigilant.
To the spacious transporter bay, which looks literally like a shower cubicle.
So they go to the transporter
Main
room
transporter.
rather than the medical.
I would have beaten them straight to medical.
Oh, it's up to you. Yeah, we can do that. Fine. It makes no difference really. Just Lyra is in the transporter bay. She can easily beam them straight to sick bay, so we'll do that.
Okay, cool. Yep.
So they materialise in sick bay then.
Yep. Okay.
And then presumably the medical people
Plume's
chuck
in
us
there.
straight onto a bed,
Yep.
a bio bed.
And
Sorry, I said the bio bed. I say A. That implies more than one. There's only the one.
okay, yeah. So Plume's there. He says that he takes some
Got
initial
some
scans and
fertiliser
stuff
out
like
of
that.
He's got some fertiliser. Quick.
He says they appear to be stable, but unconscious. It's going to take me a bit of time to ascertain because their makeup's unlike anything I've seen
14
before.
minutes.
So he does get to work on trying to rouse them.
So, but the good news is it hasn't killed them.
Not at
So
all.
that's encouraging.
And
So
and he says they're very stable. Like there's no.
So it means we can, in theory, we can beam them across to the
Might as well, because we also don't necessarily know how long we can stay here for. And it would also be good to be able to take off if the octopus shows up.
Okay, so do you want us to beam them all over to the ship?
Yeah, might as well.
So I guess we'll have to do it a couple at a time because the transporter can't.
Yep.
I don't think it can cope with 6, but we'll send. So I'll send them all to the sick bay.
Yep. And
They might have to take over a couple of other people's quarters to put them in.
We can clear out the crew quarters, one of the cargo areas.
While you're doing that, I'm going to quickly look at how big a Defiant class the sick bay is. It's not too big. It's the same room as the mess hall set, isn't it?
No, but I'm just thinking in terms of.
But basically, this hasn't done anything to address the issue with the power generation on the ship. It's still presumably deteriorating.
Well,
Sick bay. Why does it keep doing that? Piece of crap. Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay, so we've got 3 of them. But I guess he probably Okay, so fair enough. There we go. We've got 3 bio beds.
Yeah.
Fair play.
And I'm sure you can make some sort of.
Rig some. Maybe the
Rig
next
some up.
chain. Make the next room. I can't remember on the blueprints. I'll have a look while you're doing your bit.
Okay, yeah. So, are you all coming back to the Vigilant, or were you just sending them across?
What do you think, chap? Should we? I mean, I guess we could.
Well, the thing
we
is,
still haven't plugged the leak.
we set up and plugged the leak, and we.
Rollins feels like there's not much he can do here because
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even
If you
if
can't-
we
yeah, no,
technology
that's fine,
is
yeah,
just
that's
so
plug the leak,
unbelievable.
No, that's fine.
It's not going to do anything.
See if we can access anything from the data logs. if you know how to interface, if you can figure out a way to interface with them.
Yeah, that'd be the next.
But you've got, it's quite literally like you've got 5 minutes. If how long do we have once we've transported the bodies across? How much long? If we're was the estimation? We got what?
It was about 20 minutes. I'd say you got half that time, so you less than 10 minutes.
You got 5 minutes to.
Okay, so something you did notice is the person that you transported away. So the chair they were sitting in is almost like a pod, and when they left, the pod changed in colour slightly. Almost looked as though it
was dying.
not dying, but almost powered down. Like any life it seemed to have,
Maybe it's
just
like
seemed to have gone dormant rather than dying.
Maybe it's like our friend here was saying that it's the crew themselves that power the ship.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I'm thinking. But the problem is, okay.
But it didn't change the energy level, so that degradation is still the same.
Okay.
But yes, that pod.
So what happens if one of us sits in the chair?
Sit in the chair.
I am so glad I'm not paying attention. I wasn't there for that.
Except you get some thorns in your backside. Oh shit!
Yeah,
it feels damn comfortable, and you're kind of like, which my chair?
Does the chair?
I need to go. I'm gonna go to the
react.
toilet.
So in
I'm
other
going to the
words-
toilet while this is happening.
So
it doesn't. This I mean, the slight give to it, the slight sort of buoyancy. So top of the stairs, it's directly in front of you when you get to the top.
So okay, so it doesn't. So the chair doesn't like reconfigure itself to match.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, Sean.
Well, I'm struggling with ideas, boys. What do you think?
Seems a bit should be something obvious with this.
Okay.
What if
In the absence
it's either they're feeding off the, or either they're being sustained off the ship, or the ship is being sustained off them.
The crew must come before the ship, because the ship is a vehicle to transport. So in other words, I don't buy that they are living off the ship because they've built the ship or they've grown the ship. So it must be them
Powering
if
the
there,
ship.
if there is that relationship, it's them powering the ship, not the other way around. Would be my bet. Because, like I say, their species would have evolved before the ship. In other words, they've evolved the technology, organic, to create these ships, but they were there first. So you can't. I don't buy that the ship is there to power them. It's got to be the other way around.
And Plume would sort of say, well, like, since this person's been here, there's been no change in their life signs. So being away from the ship
It's
hasn't
not.
really-
It's not the ship. So we've got it. So maybe
So
we've got,
we in the medical bay we have a effectively an isolation pod we can put them in.
yeah, because there's a medical lab. The room next to the sick bay is actually it's a medical science lab. So presumably that's where they would bunk the other victims, but that's also where there would be like a pressure chamber, that kind of thing.
I have an idea. If you put them in a isolation pod,
And you put them in a stasis chamber.
put them in a stasis chamber, remodulate the stasis chamber to run at 32 megahertz. To see if the reason why they're unconscious is because if they come from another dimension running at a different frequency, the reaction to running at a different frequency in this universe has knocked them out or killed them. If we can run the internal stasis pod at 32 megahertz, that may revive them.
Don't tell me how to do my job, Oscar. Fairchild, do as the man says.
Yeah, I'm not agreeing with you, but Fairchild, do what the man says.
As a thought.
So he does give that instruction to Kimberly Fairchild, the other doctor.
So,
She's doctor, right?
Yeah, she is.
if this ship
Top of the stairs.
uses
Top of the stairs.
gravitational eddies as that's the gravitational eddy is the end result of this thing flying, for want of a better phrase.
Well, the octopus creature used
The octopus
seems to have
creature.
used something similar to
And
for
it
propulsion.
itself
to
is
escape.
a gravitational. It creates a gravitational pull itself. So, if we work on the assumption that this is from another universe,
You're not letting go of that assumption, are you?
as it's running at a different frequency, as it's running through,
Yeah.
there is a logic to why they might have got knocked out. If we run at 44 hertz and they're running at 32,
I mean, yeah.
that's knocked out. The creature, after it expelled energy to try and capture us, it phased out. It's possible it can only stay in this universe when it rephases or has enough energy to rephase in. We don't know how long it takes between those sequences. So something went wrong with this ship's energy core and went from 32 to 44 hertz and therefore became visible in our universe. The creature is able to do that and follow it, but only for short brief moments of time. It was stationary when we found it. It chased us, exerted energy, and then vanished.
So I don't know whether that's the explanation, but it's bloody good.
So,
it certainly sounds bloody good.
Ever so slight, not retcon, but jump back in the episode to maybe someone who had just popped out to make a cup of tea and they come back and they're like, what was Osterhagen saying?
Yeah.
And they just rewind it a bit. Okay, so they've transported back to the ship and whatnot. You've given that order to, well not order, but suggestion to the doctor. Okay, then we hear that same female voice again.
Yeah.
And she says, this vacuum, this vacuum-dwelling octo-mollusk, as you call it, it just vanished? How do you explain this? And then you obviously go on to say what you just said.
Theorise it came from a different dimensional plane or... That does make sense though.
And so we see sort of you sitting in the same seat that Naismith was sitting in when we saw the interview before, and then the sort of camera flips to see the Inquisitors who are talking to you, and the speaker is a human female. She's a Starfleet admiral, and fans may recognise her as Admiral.
Who was secretly in love with Picard.
She's fine. She's flanked by a male Andorian lieutenant to her left and a male human lieutenant commander to her right. And she continues to speak. She goes on to say, so at what point did this other vessel appear then? And the camera cuts back, but this time it's not Osterhagen sitting in the seat. It is Karen Lyra. She's sitting in the seat.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So yeah, she says. The question to you is: at what point did this other vessel suddenly appear? To show Lyra, we cut back to the bridge of the Vigilant. And someone on the bridge, possibly on comms, says that they are picking up another ship approaching at warp speed and navigating the gravimetric eddies with ease.
Oh wow.
The ship drops out of warp. It appears to be a similar design to the one that you guys are on. Some of you are still over there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoops. That's looking like a bad idea. Right?
But it's much larger. Okay. It begins to scan the Vigilant, and it begins to scan the other ship. Okay.
Put your hands up.
Yeah. So.
Hail the new ship.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay. It is not responding to hails. It raises its shields.
Rehail in a
Beam back. Beam back the way team immediately.
Charges its disruptor cannons is what you're picking.
Oh crap! As long as it's sonic disruptor cannons, that's all right.
Beam back the away team as soon as possible.
Yeah.
As soon as they don't respond, I'm like, beam
Can I
back.
make a suggestion?
What?
Beam the captain back. Beam the guy we got on board. If they want,
We've got all of them on board at the moment.
We can't just beam it. We can't. It's either going to beam the captain back or it's beam everybody.
Yeah, no. Sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll be back.
Beam back and
Yeah,
raise
so we'll beam
shields.
back over to the Vigilant.
Raise shields, continue hailing.
Because again, we can't send them back to that ship, because as far as
go
we
to
know, we're
yellow
sending
alert.
them back to die.
Basically, once we have everybody back on board,
Yep.
go to yellow alert.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Can we scan the creature, the humanoid in the pod's vocal cords, and attempt to create a digital version of the vocal
Do we
cord?
get any records of communication?
So you got the distress call.
Yeah.
So you do have its speech patterns worked out. So the universal translator has been able.
Can
to...
we simply rebroadcast its
Yeah.
original distress signal?
Yeah.
Because we
I would assume
recorded the
that's
distress
I
signal, so
would
we'll
assume
just
that's still. I would
rebroadcast
assume
it.
that's still rebroadcasting anyway.
Maybe.
The degradation of its power is starting
okay.
to lose a lot of
Okay.
systems, and
Okay,
literally
thank
the
you.
only bit left was that.
Okay, kind of be like we're responding. We're like in an unknown ship. We responded to this.
Okay. So now the other ship is hailing you.
Okay.
Okay.
Now they want to talk.
Now.
Now that your shields are up and yeah, you broadcast this. So yeah, do you open that?
Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get a
Okay.
virus.
Yeah.
Your screen lights up. Again, I did a
It
drawing, but I
looks
didn't
exactly
get
like
time to
ours.
finish it. So this.
Nice.
Oh my god! It looks like on Jaws. It looks like Martians from DC Comics with John's
John
natural,
Jones.
John
John
Jones.
Jones'
John
real
Jones.
natural,
Manhunter, yeah.
natural
It's
form.
Coneheads.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And so the.
Can I just point out my favourite thing in that picture is Kaz's little tail peeking through the chair.
Oh yeah, you've got a special seat where the battery's missing, so you tell.
Little scratching post on the bottom.
So the
Little
voice.
tray at the corner of the bridge.
The voice coming from the very angry-looking female in the middle. She says, "Lower your shields. Prepare the Valeth fugitives for transportation, or be destroyed. You are
Fugitive?
interfering with the business of the Valeth Empire."
Google Bailey.
What?
This is Commander Miles Naismith of the Starfleet vessel.
Since when did I become ventriloquist? Yeah, I'm like,
You're going to get demoted. Mimicking an officer.
yeah, kind of like, do the like. This is Miles Naismith of the Command Mass of the U.S. Vigilant for the United Federation of Planets. We are not aware of holding any refugees. Like, happy to discuss a solution to this problem.
Refugees. I said fugitives.
Okay, fugitives.
I'm First
sorry.
Captain Judana Hedera of the Imperial Valeth warship Alorito, and Royal Guard to the ever-glowing Empress Lumin the Undying. May she shine forever.
Warship, let me tell you about warship. Oh, sorry. Shut up, Lyra. Sorry.
Return the fugitives.
They don't call this ship the Pitbull for
You are interfering with the Empire's business.
I mean,
They have been sentenced to death.
So you had to say that, didn't you? Because I was
You
all
had
for
to
giving
say
them
that.
back, but now that's kind of put a bit of a different complexion on it, hasn't it? It's a bit of a stick. Well, no. So technically, maybe worth. I guess what we should tell them is that, first of all, you're in unclaimed
From us.
space. So this region of space, as far as we know, is not sovereign territory. We have responded to a distress signal. However, we are not prepared to simply hand over the injured
individuals
crewmen we've rescued on your say-so for summary execution. If you wish to discuss this situation, we are open to negotiation. However, we do not respond well to threats. Quantum torpedoes up your jacksie.
Or
Yeah. Okay, that might be another way of approaching it, but I'm just thinking
we
out
could
loud.
say we could say that to them, but we could also
Or we could say,
we could say, okay, we'll give you a fugitives back. We'll transport them over. Lower your shields. The minute they lower their shields, we'll drop the warp core from the runabout. Detonate
Will
it
you
inside the ship.
will you
I'm the
stop
one who's supposed to
taking
come up with
bits
those
out of my
ideas.
ship?
Just
No,
spitballing.
no. We're going to go the route
Ain't gonna
of...
happen,
I'm
so.
sorry, but... Like,
This is why I didn't pick you as his first commander.
Yeah.
I'm basically going to go the route of similar to what he said, but not like necessarily... I mean, I'm just
I
basically...
mean, we've only
like,
got their word.
Shall I get the white flag acting captain?
We're going to basically tell them that you can't just hand up people who are going to somewhere be executed when they say so. That's not how the Federation works.
Then tell me, how does your Federation work?
Well, if you'd like to come over, we can discuss that.
Yeah, we're more than welcome to welcome you aboard, and we will discuss it as civilized beings.
What we should be is command.
And then basically be like, someone work on a way of sending a signal back to Starfleet, basically going, you might unintentionally start a war.
This is what you signed up for, Miles. This is like frontier negotiation at its best.
Fortune and glory.
Yeah, and that as well.
I signed up to take out the Orions.
Oh yeah.
Totally that.
I'm totally loving that picture though. I can't get over that chair, I love that.
What did you host them for a
You gotta finish
for a
that
meeting
picture.
about this, but if they want to explain the situation, but attacking us will be seen as an act of aggression and an act of war against the Federation.
And we are so bigger than you.
Yeah, we're way bigger than you are. We've like never even heard of you guys.
Bitch. Yeah, don't say any of this.
She says, sorry, when you introduce yourself, did you give your rank and stuff?
Yeah, I say
Because if not, she would say, you say commander. Okay, so she says, one moment, commander. And the sort of screen lights goes black for a bit. Anything that you want to discuss just whilst the view screen's off?
No, like kind of be like the view screen comes back up. No, we are not beaming a nuclear
Ultimately, my feeling is you don't, this
At
is
the end of the day, this is the first contact.
yeah, but also we don't want to see.
What is protocol? I'd be like, shit. What is kind of like what is protocol in this situation?
I think protocol is.
I've never done. It's like this is one of those things where I'm like.
So ultimately, we've offered to discuss the situation. Yeah. We're under no obligation to take their word, So in other words, we don't, as you rightly said, exactly the fact that we're not simply going to give these people over.
I mean, they say that.
And certainly because these people are unconscious, so they can't speak for themselves.
Yeah, they can't speak for themselves, so we don't know.
So we're not giving them over. We're not giving them over to these guys. They want to come and talk about it.
I mean, it could be that it was actually a prison transport, and
the easiest thing you do is you say, we will keep hold of these survivors
slash refugees
until we
it's fugitives.
No, I'm not going to use that term.
Well, we can just say survivors then.
Yeah, we'll say survivors, and they'll go on until they are in.
Yeah, until we have. Well, first of all, until they are stabilised and able to speak for themselves, because
if you wish to send one of your doctors.
Alternatively, we will.
Doctors to consult with our doctor.
Yeah.
The only slight downside to this whole plan is there's like 40 of us.
Any luck with the actual captain phasing you in and out of the pod? Trying to change the frequency of the pod.
You can try and contact that to see if
Medbay has any luck with
there's no response from Medbay.
What?
No response from Medbay.
Oh.
So she comes back on screen and she says, I've considered your offer. Prepare the prisoners for transport, and we will send a shuttle over with a representative.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a progress, I suppose.
They've got no transporters.
I would assume not.
Okay.
What are they fugitives? What crime have they committed if they are fugitives? And someone go downstairs to the sick bay. Send a security detail. Take a security detail with you.
Yeah.
Armed.
Red coats. To me.
They're actually yellow coats, but whatever.
Yeah.
Shoot him.
Just saying!
And they're sending up.
So she says to you that their crimes are anarchy and...
In the UK?
Anarchy and treason.
Oh. So
political... That makes it even more difficult because obviously political crime is very much subjective.
Yeah.
So one regime's political, treason / stuff could be something completely different. So very tricky situation.
So, when you say anarchy, classical Italian anarchy or chaos?
Sex Pistols. Sorry, is that the question to her?
To you.
To me?
When you mean by anarchy, do you mean people running around going ah, or do you mean classical Italian anarchy, in which there is no government, we self-govern?
You would assume the latter, because it was followed by treason, so it's. Yeah.
But yeah, not sedition.
Did you say someone was running down to?
Me and a security detail running down to the med bay.
Okay.
That was kind of like when we realised that there weren't anyone responding to the.
Okay, cool.
It's going to take 5 minutes.
Karen, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap up.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I just noticed that. So, run down to sickbay. There are, before you get there, in the corridors, there are a cloud of orange sort of spores that makes it hard to see.
I like what you've done with the place. It's an improvement.
As you get into sickbay, Pluto is unconscious on the floor. He's got a gash on his head, and B, Pranok, and Kim Fairchild are both missing, and so are all the fugitives. So yeah, we'll end it there.
Excellent! Loving it!